Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Hopefully, your week has been going really, really well. And welcome to the Dummies Cauldron. So, today we're going to be talking about some of the transits that are going on in March. And March is a pretty busy month. There's a lot of just things coming and going and transitioning out. Um, and there are things like Saturn that's going on, which is an outer planet, and it really transitions from sign to sign. We're going to have, I'm going to talk about some other things, but Saturn is got things going on. We have a lot of rare conjunctions that are going on, which will also be a part of the conversation today. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Topaz. And so we're going to be having conversations about that. But this primarily centers around Mercury and Pisces. This will be also really good for people who have a native Mercury in Pisces, or maybe they have like a progress Mercury and Pisces for the year. Just to talk about what the themes are around Mercury and Pisces. And then we're going to do it based off of your rising signs, where Mercury and Pisces will be in conjunction with the Venus and Jupiter conjunction, which is rare. It's kind of going on right now, and it's going to be synergizing to that Mercury and Pisces placement, and how all of those things kind of unravel. And I'll do it by rising signs because it's a little bit easier to track that through the chart. If you want to listen to it from the perspective of your sun sign, you can, but it is really, that technique is really that I'm going to be using is most effective for your rising signs. um but if you want to do your sun, or if your sun is in the first house, you know it's really the most effective for that. If you don't know your rising sign or a little bit confused, you could just drop it in the chat and I will try to help you as quickly as possible about where your rising sign could be at. um but yeah, so today's the third. So between yesterday and today, depending where you live at, we had Mercury move into ingress, which when it moves into ingress means it moves into a different sign. So we had Mercury move into ingress and it moved into the sign of Pisces. And so what happens when Mercury, which is, what you think, how you communicate, how you speak, moves into Pisces, which is very much so synonymous with with belief, forms of intuition, um, confusion, glamour, and illusion. You know, that when you do it in general, it doesn't really sound the best. There are some good things that do come out of this combination, but overall, like, this combination is considered detriment, and it's really not as the strongest Mercury placement that you could have possible at all. And that will also depend how it's aspected in your chart, but just generally transiting, which everyone is experiencing this transit, but if this is natal for you, this can be a bit harder. So it's not the best. Had my midterms exam this week on midterm break. I passed all, just waiting on my accounts grade. And you was right about that big break earlier this week. My accounts exam was pushed back. Hey! Yeah, so everybody, congratulations. Gave me more time to prepare because I definitely wasn't ready at first. Yeah, so everyone had a break somewhere this week, but where the break was, it really depends on what's in your chart and where those placements are. But that is really great. Congratulations, Topaz. Okay, so back to Mercury and Pisces. So when we talk about Mercury, again, it deals with writing, words, and communication. And Pisces is more about intuition and self-expression and the belief of the self-expression. Um, so what do they have in common? They actually have more differences than similarities, and that's part of the issue why they're not compatible. But for instance, Mercury likes to write, it likes words, it likes being good with words, right? Okay, Pisces likes poetry and music. You can write music, you can write poetry, they'll get along there. That's what they like. They'll really go good together. So usually when I see people with Mercury and Pisces, or when under these themes, There could be very strong themes of poetry and music linking up that could be very, very effective, and it could be quite beautiful. The next thing is being expressive and animated. Mercury likes to be expressive, it likes to be animated, it likes to share ideas in a very over the top theatrical way. Pisces rules art. So, being expressive in art, being animated in art, these are things that you're going to see that'll be synced up in a positive way, just in general. Mercury is adaptable. When you think about the stories of Mercury, how it's able to transform, do different things, it deals with travel, and it deals with learning to get around any handicap that is possible. Um, that is good. Even the signs that Mercury rules, which would be Gemini and Virgo, they're both mutable for that reason. Like Mercury has a very adaptable presence or mind, and it always thinks about how can I get from point A to point B, no matter what. Then you have Pisces, which is a mutable sign in general, and so it also falls in line with adaptability prospects. Mercury rules as above, so below. Pisces rules universal consciousness, all religions, all beliefs, interest in God or spirituality of any kinds. So the concept of like whatever I believe spiritually or whatever there is in a higher authority, or what do I think of my higher self or a higher a thing that rules me higher, I can extrapolate that in a material realm. So the whole spiritual thing, they have it on lock. This is where Mercury and Pisces really agree. They can really agree behind music, literature, arts, but spirituality as a construct and understanding the mechanics of it. So like understanding the mechanics of whatever. It's kind of like when you hear, like if y'all hear it based off your denominations of Christianity, it's like when prayers go up, blessings come down, or like in these types of dynamics is whatever I put out spiritually, I will get it back. And so Pisces really understands the universe and its workings very intrinsically without having to do much at all. As above, so below is giving Baphomet. I guess you can say that, but it's not the only religion that practice that type of concept. So I think that when people hear that, they only associate it with certain religions or certain themes, because it's in multiple religions and themes. And sometimes as above, so below is also in themes outside of that. You also hear it in like Kemetic texts and stuff like that if you read like the Hermetic tablets, and it's in a lot of religions, to be honest, but it's a concept that a lot of people believe in. So like, giving prayers or doing something on a spiritually conscious, then you get back what you whatever you put out to the desire, or if you understand universal concepts. I know that's just what my mind went to first in here. I know you, but we know about you, Topaz. We know what kind of family you got going on. So I understand you got a lot going on at home with you, your mama, and your bloodline. So listen. The next thing is speaking. Mercury rules speaking and communications. The downside about Pisces is Pisces, it does rule speaking, but here's the caveat. Like Pisces can rule speaking to the dead or speaking to the spirit or spirit realm or whoever. Because remember, they understand the spirit. They don't understand physical. It's not a physical material realm sign. Hey, Queen Vonna. It's not a material realm sign. And so like when speaking, Mercury thinks about speaking to everybody. Pisces thinks about speaking to God, speaking to the spirit. If they doing ancestors altars, they speaking to their grandmother. Y'all see where it's going at? So sometimes Mercury and Pisces, it doesn't have a physical, this physical speaking isn't there. It's like a spiritual speaking. So like if people think about like Pinocchio, like let your conscience be your guide. And so Pinocchio is having spiritual conversations with spiritual entities like a fairy, a magical cricket, or like when you think about Christianity and they talk about the still small voice, they're having conversations with the still small voice. It's not a physical conversation. It's a internal or intuition based conversation. Pisces, not Pisces, Mercury, remaining elusive, hard to pin down. This is what it does have in common with Hey Tay Tay, with Pisces. So you have floating and feeling adrift, dreams, fragile boundaries, and feeling erased. So it doesn't always come from the same motive. I think Mercury just wants to be on the go anyway, but Pisces more so deals with you know, things that are open or spread out, open spaces, open boundaries, or the boundaries are feeling erased, or just in generalized having a lack of boundaries, which can come off elusive or hard to pin down because we're in a physical material realm, and so I can see why having a physical conversation with anyone who has that, or even if it's transiting for everyone. Everyone has Pisces somewhere in their chart. I can see where that is at can be hard for people to understand or pin down. It's confusion.
Yeah, there's no clarity. Mercury
No
likes
clarity.
clarity. It likes to be like
Right.
the wind.
It likes
or
to,
even Earth, like we took Virgo being its other
right.
preferable
So
sign.
it doesn't mind confusion if it's aware that it's setting the confusion. Pisces don't necessarily understand that it's not, it's a set of confusion that it can't control. So
You
like,
say the water element is more so controlled by things that is beyond the control of like Mercury, like when we talk about the tides of the water or seeds versus when you talk about the air or earth element where there's more of a self
it's a groundedness there.
right creation.
That's what I'm saying. So Pisces, this is where Pisces, the sister signs, because Pisces and Virgos are sister signs, they can both have a lack. There's certain aspects where they can deal with a disintegration or the breaking up of boundaries or material energy, but one feels in control and the other one might not. And so Pisces, it's not like they're necessarily in control of the breaking down of matter, whereas a Virgo is well in control and probably getting on a lot of people's nerves while at it. I'm gonna be real, because that's what people get irritated about the legendary Virgo. It's like sometimes they breaking down too much, they getting on people's nerves.
But very analytical, like when Nas did that Ether diss track, he basically put Jay-Z's whole life into the diss track.
Precisely, but you see what I'm saying about being premeditated.
Right.
Pisces aren't always premeditated with it, and so it's the lack of control. But Mercury loves the control of that. It's I guess you could say organized chaos or organized destruction.
Like the Gemini side, they can think on their feet quickly.
Yeah. Pisces, you don't have that, and that's why it's considered a detriment. You cannot control the chaos. You cannot control the lack of boundaries, breaking things up, ripping things apart. There's no control here.
In fact, you have to wait before you communicate. You gotta take some time.
Well, this is what I'm saying about understanding, because Pisces rules the law of the universe or Christ consciousness. It really rules the let go and let God, and so your destruction or the breaking up or the lack of boundaries or drifting apart, if you're literally at the behest of the universe or God or whatever you put there, you know, a fate, you're at the behest of it. Whereas Virgo is very much in control of that. Mercury is very much in control of where the disruption is. So when you're in Pisces, Pisces is a very, I guess you could say, pious in that way, where it's a surrendering and letting the universe do all of these things. Hey Sunny. Then you have Mercury with lying when the truth serves you better, playing pranks, and being a trickster. So people's Mercury, if you see where your Mercury is in your chart, you can see where you can lie, where you play tricks, where the truth can serve you better. Those things is synonymous with Mercury. Mercury or Hermes, if you read the Lord, he's a trickster god, so he does stuff like that anyway. But that's also where we see parts of ourselves where we lie to ourselves, or we aren't as truthful to ourselves, or where we kind of messed up. So when you see that it's synonymous with Pisces, Pisces rules self-undoing and getting caught in a trap. And so when you have a Mercury in Pisces, where we're lying is about undoing things for ourselves. Where we're lying or playing tricks on other people is when we're undoing things for and to other people, or trapping people in things, or trapping ourselves in things. That's what happened when you see a Mercury and Pisces together. So we could be trapping ourselves, we could be trapping others, we could be undoing things for other people, and we could be doing undoing things for ourselves.
Which is much different from Gemini and Virgo in that placement, where they can cause confusion on purpose with people, but they're not confused. And they can be clear in communication when they want to. Pisces, Mercury messing around, they confused too.
Right. So I'm also, this is kind of like a joint video, because it's like, it's with the transit of Mercury just went into Pisces today. But this is also great for people who have it in their chart. If you have a Mercury and Pisces in your chart, this is considered a detriment. It's considered, Mercury is very weak here. The mind is weak. Speaking, communication, quick travels, issues with siblings, issues in your neighborhood and with relatives, it's considered weak. And as I'm going through, even though these are similarities, some of these similarities aren't that strong or aren't that great. where Mercury and Pisces synergize at, where they have similarities, even when playing tricks, you notice how the playing tricks is you playing tricks on yourself. You're not playing tricks on others. So like even when zodiac signs, planets, houses create a synergy, sometimes the synergy ain't always great. You know, Terra Destroyer.
I like that name.
That
Terra
is
Destroyer. That's so funny.
That is hilarious. I love that name. Hey, Final.
Kind of have a avatar that looks like it's not about fucking around. Huh?
It looks like one of the little Russian dolls.
Yeah.
This is really cute.
It is. It's a very pretty avatar.
Okay, so then we go into an aspect of Mercury where it's teachers and education. The main thing that Pisces, a Mercury and Pisces will attach to as far as in teaching and education isn't the normal means. These would deal with spiritual teachers. These would deal with teachers attached to religions or cults. So learning from God, learning from teachers, learning from religions. These aren't necessarily normal teachers where you go to like university or you go to, you know, college. If you're American, you say college. You're British, you say university. You know, or you go to like elementary school. These aren't normal teachers. These are people that are spiritual gurus per se, or spiritual leaders, pastors. This is where they get their education from. Sometimes even ancestors or people that are dead that are tied to the spirit, that are tied to the universe, things like that. So Mercury rules the internet. It rules forms of technology. Well, Pisces rules wanting to link up and wanting to merge with the collective. And so, in a sense, it rules a form of unity. And so, where you see a Mercury in Pisces, they want to experience unity. And the internet can seem like a good vessel to take that up on. And that's, I guess, the best way where they'll link up and they'll find some type of harmony. So, they'll get on the computer and they can find, join groups, clubs, fan pages, I don't know, anything that can get some type of collective where they can link up and create like a little community or do things. These could be like petitions, anything that they can find and have unity backing behind that. They'll go on there. That's the closest they'll get with the internet and as far as in technology. Then Mercury rules gaslighting. Pisces rules confusion. And so this is where they'll have a synonymous because again they're lying. And so gaslighting, right? Gaslighting is a tactic. If y'all want to read up on it, it's a psychological term. It's considered a psychological abusive term, which can also be emotionally abusive. But it's basically when you tell a person that their form of reality isn't real. So prime example, if we're in the house and I say, "Oh, hey, is the stove on?" and you tell me, and I see the fire, and I'm looking at the flames of the stove, and you say, "No, it's not on," but I'm looking at it, that you're gaslighting me. So you're telling me that the stove isn't on, but the stove is on, and I'm looking at it as a way to distort reality. And I think this is where we get the whole Pisces being delusional and distorters of reality. Where people like, your Pisces are delusional, they're crazy. This, particularly when you have a Mercury in Pisces, they'll gaslight other people, but sometimes they'll gaslight themselves. So it's a delusion aspect.
Versus if it was Mercury or Virgo, let's say they used the stove and something happened to it, and then you use the stove and you're like, something's wrong with the stove, and they're like, yo, you broke it.
No, but Mercury and Pisces, because it's the self undoing, they'll lie to themselves and be like, I somehow tricked. Well, even though this person gaslit me, I knew some way, somewhere, some way, it's my fault that they abused me and gaslit me, right. And it's a self undoing. And so we're taking in the whatever, the gaslighting, the lies. It's a victimhood.
You hurt me,
but I know I deserved it somehow. Somewhere, I was responsible for this.
I'm a martyr too.
I am a martyr. You know, and so this is even though it's similar. They could be doing this depending where it is in your chart. You could be doing it to other people, or people could be doing it to you.
And do y'all see how the difference, how which one is more cleaner? Because with the Mercury in Gemini and Virgo, you may think, man, I really may have broken the stove. Because that's how slick they could be.
Right.
Versus the Mercury and Pisces, they all over the place.
They all over the place. They all over the place. So the last thing I'll give in common, Mercury is also a space where you can find inspiration. That's why Mercury's placements, they deal with um a lot of intensity and effect of like the Mercury placement deals with a lot of inspiration. And so that's why Mercury kind of runs around the concept of being a busybody wherever the Mercury is, because it's inspired by a lot of things, and so it runs around learning and taking in information, and I guess you could say pontificating about everything that it's taking in. Pisces deals with it too. Pisces is really amazed by, spiritual attributes, knowledge, wisdom, expanding and growth and and learning through those types of things and taking in forms of education. It wants to be inspired that way in a, I guess you could say, in a holistic spiritual way, but it's really inspired by creative and, I guess you could say, abundant themes. I had to step away. Did I deal with my dog? Did I miss anything? No, Topaz. We're still going over the similarities of Mercury and Pisces, what they have in common. Does anyone have any questions before we move into where they are very different and where all hell can break loose? Even though we talked about the self undoing and they playing tricks on themselves, they setting themselves up for abuse. Like, even though Mercury working in Pisces can be taking a lot of L's, that's why it's weak there. But is there any questions about what Mercury and Pisces have in common before I move into the major differences?
Um, B-Mo just said, she just said no. I was about to do it too.
Wrap it up. I don't know what. You tell the show shot. You gotta start speaking in fake tongues. Stop it.
Do y'all have any questions for BMORE pertaining to Mercury and Pisces?
What the similarities are? Because I'm about to move into the differences, and then we're gonna go into everyone's, where their rising sign, where all of this energy is gonna just be at crazy.
What for you? Do you, for your personally, where you feel there is some common agreement there, even if it's, if anything?
What I just read was a common agreement. It is wild though. It's wild because the agreement is to do all this wild stuff to themselves, but that's the agreement. I mean, I didn't make the rules, But for some, when Mercury's in Pisces, it really deals with playing tricks on yourself and your own self undoing, and not seeing things very clearly, or wanting to leave it up to God or the universe, or dealing with things of music, poetry, dealing with,
well, there we go,
spirits.
That's something that they can have in common. Music.
They do. I mean, well, you kind of came in late, but music, art, we already went over that.
Oh yeah,
it's okay.
I was in that phone call with Prince on the phone. My bad.
It's all right.
So you already said. So you said music. Yeah. You talked about the enjoyment of confusing others.
Well,
and
it isn't just confusing others,
but
it's playing tricks
too.
on themselves.
Right.
Basically. I think a major component that you could just take away from this in general is Mercury rules the key to knowledge or information, because you think about it, the signs that it rules. So Gemini, Virgo, they have a very big, I guess you could say, a big thirst for knowledge and information. Pisces, on the other hand, is very interesting because it kind of rules knowing all of these things, or knowing all intuitively, because it's at the end of the zodiac, so it has a lot of experiences, and so it knows all. But the problem with Pisces, it has a hard time of sorting it out. And I don't know if y'all ever talked to anyone with a Mercury in Pisces or similar aspects. And so a similar aspect would be Pisces in the third house, or things where it can like denote communications or messages being askewed. Mm-hmm. They know a lot of things, but when you ask them to be for the precision that we can get from a Gemini or Virgo, where this zodiac sign, where the planet is at home at, so Mercury is at home there. When you meet a Mercury in Pisces, sometimes when you ask them these things, they cannot tell you. They know you, like, dang, that was deep, yo. And then when you ask them to keep going, chaos, because they can't really make sort of anything, because Pisces deal with a form of a dilation of time, just like of matter, just like Virgo, they break up certain forms of matter. There are no boundaries here because we've eroded the physical realm. And so when you ask them for something tangible, they can kind of seem like, what the hell am I talking about?
I can give you advice because it's based off of a book BMORE and I read at the library. I can't remember the name of the book, but I will find it for y'all, for BMORE to give to y'all on her Patreon. If you have Pisces and Mercury, one of the best ways to learn, since we are speaking about the intuitive energy, is to put a book under your head.
Yes.
It's put like, I'm gonna tell you something. Now, I don't have a Pisces and Mercury, and I'm not going to tell y'all my business here. No, but one day, I fell asleep right next to BMORE, and she was reading the book, and the book went into my dream. Now, this is a book.
Was this a historical romance book I was reading?
You was reading something with magic, something involved with something.
Oh, I thought you when I was reading you that the romance book that was funny.
Which one? Because you had a couple.
Oh, this is when you and Prince was sick.
Oh, no.
That one was funny.
No, it was when I just fell asleep. I took a nap, fell asleep next to you, and you was reading the book, and I told you about my dream. And you was like, that was in the book. That's the book.
That was in the book.
I was like, oh, snap.
But that's that. But to your point, you're not a Pisces, a Mercury Pisces, but you're a Pisces in general.
Yeah, they know that. Yeah, Pisces sun.
Right. So, like, even just in general being there. But yes, y'all can lay books under your head.
Yep.
You know, especially when you have a Mercury in Pisces, depending where it is. Pisces in general kind of have that vibe. You know, they just be knowing stuff, but then you ask them some detailed questions, they like, you know, which makes sense because Pisces also rules dreams and dreaming. And so I guess the best takeaway is don't try so hard when you have a Mercury in Pisces because it never really works out. You're not really built for that. It's actually built for your intuition to rule this sign and to not necessarily go with logic per se. Even though Mercury, the planet wants to be logical, but the zodiac really isn't a logical sign. That's not really what its domain is.
It's like BMORE says, a detriment. So you have to. This is what we talk about: different learning styles and memory.
Yeah.
With that Pisces and Mercury, as BMORE broke down, it's going to be very important for you to do unorthodox intuition type of learning.
Exactly.
So some people may come on here and be like, "That's dumb. You saying that person going to learn by putting a book under their head?"
For them,
it will work, and you know, and they
not for you. Not for you, bitch. You have to hit the book. Back to the desk you go. You know. But for them, that's where they rule at. Because you have to think, Mercury is the mind, but Pisces is the belief. It's the dream.
Right.
It's the dream world. It's the belief. It's the spirit world. They can do that. That's where they have dominion. They were born with a chart that's where their dominion or their authority is. Because everyone's chart tells you where your authority is. That's their authority.
Like Albert Einstein, a lot of his revelations in science came from his dreams, and he admitted that. There was also a council of different scientists, and one guy was about to go in that direction, but he stopped himself because when you're in a round table of scientists, they all learn differently. So you got some people with Virgo placements, other placements where it's analytical and grounded. And I saw he was about to go there, then he stopped because he didn't want to be seen as a
hippy dippy.
Yeah, spiritual miracle.
And maybe that person had a Mercury in Pisces when he said he go to sleep and the information come.
Right.
Maybe he is a Mercury in Pisces where he said he can come up with the math, which is the Mercury principle, in a dream, but that's the Pisces principle. So you have to fall in line with what you already have. I think the education system fails people because people literally already have a blueprint of what works for them. Hey, Digital. My boy a Pisces, that dude don't listen. It's not for him to listen. It's the confusion, Sean. That's what I'm saying. Like, when you talk to them, they know a lot of things, but it is confusion. This is my point. Like, when you speak to them, it's confusion.
Right.
Let alone if it's a Mercury in Pisces versus a Sun.
Because that means they interpret it. So, Sean, you probably like talking about how pizza is made. This guy thinking about he's drifting off. And he like, huh, Sean, man? What you saying?
Yeah, but if then randomly say something that's very brilliant and you're like, and you're asking more questions, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I went to sleep and I saw it or something weird like that.
What's up, Nick?
Under your head, like below the chin or the back of the neck. Okay, just under your pillow.
Yes.
So like, there are some techniques if some of y'all are into tarot or whatever, where there's a technique where you bond with your deck and you just put it under your pillow and you go to sleep, or you put it under your bed. That's a technique that some people use to bond with their cards, basically, so they can tap into a more spiritual dynamic. But when you think about it, tarot is all about your intuition, and so tapping into your intuition, or the belief, or the subconscious, or the universal conscious, or tapping into the higher forms of spirituality. That's why they're putting the cards under their head.
It also, you can do some scrying or maybe some sigil creations, because a lot of people who, all right, just to go into language real quick, just to go into this.
Please don't give them nothing that's going to be too
No,
much.
no, this is not going to be too much, but
because me and Mercury and Pisces, so confusion could come out, and I don't need nobody raising no demon accidentally.
No
don't
demon
give them
stuff.
Nothing
No.
too crazy.
No demon stuff. I was gonna say, if you look at ancient cultures, though, some of them came into their languages through Piscean type of energy, through dreams, and some sigils turned into actual languages.
Yeah.
So you guys, can practice, like, in your dream, maybe ancestors or spirit guides, angels, whatever you want to call it, and maybe ask for certain sigils and stuff to come to you, and you may actually be somebody who creates some form of language, or maybe a culture that has not been researched yet, or found yet. Maybe you'll come up with something. You never know.
Yeah, and so that's not a bad idea. But for the other people asking questions about the tarot, okay, so Mercury rules paper, it rules mail. The tarot cards are made out of paper. Pisces, or the spiritual realm, or talking to the ancestors, or the spirit, or universal consciousness, or God, any spirituality of all kinds is ruled by Pisces. Pisces rules dreams. And so this is a technique I have done. I do it all the time. If I want to get close to something, I'm putting it like on a spiritual standpoint. I'm thinking about what the matter or whatever I'm interacting with and how it's going to help. I'm going to put the cards under my head and I'm going to sleep. I've done that a lot of times. Sometimes I've had decks and I've put them in the bed and I've slept with them. You can X in. Like, sometimes I've had the card laying up next to me like they be spending the night. And then after a while, I open the deck. Like, doing all of these things, I open the deck. And then whatever prayers or meditations I do with it. And then we go into whatever. But it's usually under the pillow. It's sitting next to me in the bed. I'm tapping into the consciousness of the cards on a very deep psychological thing, because tarot requires there to be a subconscious, universal, or spiritual connection. You actually have to trust your intuition. And so if you struggle with your intuition, maybe this is a good thing to do, or to tap closer to it, because you're playing into the things of Pisces.
And you have to know how your chart works.
That is true.
If your chart, let's say if you're 60% intuition person, 40% like intellectual, that means you have to lead with intuition first and then use the logic after.
It really depends.
So it depends on the chart.
And I'll use Journey to Jasmine second, because some of the things will correlate because of just the planetary, the rulership, the dominions where the planets have. Because she says, my Mercury is in Sagittarius. I have a lot of Sag placements. Okay, so Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and Neptune, and Sagittarius is just ruled by Jupiter. So some of these things that I am discussing with Pisces and Mercury will overlap with some of the Mercury and Sag, because they're both ruled by Jupiter. Now, there are some things that are not going to be covered because Neptune is in the mix. But some of these things will overlap. And with that being said, Mercury in Sagittarius is not a strong Mercury placement either. Mercury in Sagittarius and Pisces is considered weak. It's considered one is in fall, the other is in detriment. And I will make more videos about astrology placement, so that way y'all can understand what the planet is doing and how the zodiac sign or the object, whether it be like an asteroid, how that is moving. And it helps you to understand the chart, because some of these placements do not get along, or they have interests that aren't the same. So like Mercury wants to play tricks on people, Pisces wants to be a martyr, and so sometimes you're playing tricks on yourself.
And also, just to add to this, detriment and fall means there's a big lesson on your back that you have to accomplish, and this is what it means. So when you have Virgo and Gemini, you're in your place of being comfort. This is what Mercury likes. This is what Virgo and Gemini, you're like a wordsmith and everybody's loving it. let's say like what BMORE said, you have Sag. This means that you're a person who may not like small talk, for example, but Mercury usually likes small talk because it's
Conflicting.
it's a savant in
Yeah.
small talk, right? You have to figure out as a Sagittarius and Mercury person, how do I fit big ideas and deep philosophical conversation
Into more detailed, analytical, very precise. Because remember, Mercury is very precise. Sag and Jupiter are not that. That's not what they do.
And you have to become comfortable in bringing big ideas down to breaking it down to a molecule to have common conversations
And
with other people.
I don't want to scare people when they have detriment or weak planet rulers in a chart. It's not always bad. I've seen people who had, we've, if you've been in the chat, we've gone through some people's charts where.
Hold on, they want to make them a mod. Somebody wants to be a mod to check the. You keep going though, BMORE.
We've been in certain people's charts in some of the lives. Sometimes when I tell it's a Q&A or y'all can ask me anything, and we're going over some people's charts. Some of the detriments or weaknesses aren't bad because it actually helps them to get over other complicated parts in their charts. You just have to understand it and just respect the energy. Just respect the energy. Let's see. My Mars and Jupiter are in Pisces though. That's not bad because Jupiter in Pisces is exaltated. Like it's an exaltation. Mars and Pisces could mean that you're artistic. You could be a dancer. Lacking physical boundaries. You're, things like that. Or the force is spiritual. So there's a spiritual force there.
Oh yeah, and just to add to that, the detriment means like you really got to master something here. Whereas usually when it's in this domain, it usually means you already mastered to a degree. If you have Pisces and Mercury, it's similar to Sagittarius but a bit different. Yeah. That means you have to bring big concepts of intuition and spiritualism, and how do you break it down into the Mercury.
Yeah. But I don't want to get too off track because that will probably be another video.
Right.
Which I probably systematically go through all of the zodiac signs of Mercury, all of the zodiac signs of other things, because when we also talk about Mercury, I might have to do a separate series because Mercury deals with alchemy, understanding the soul, and how the spirit and soul could be led astray depending on the zodiac sign, because Mercury is a trickster and sometimes it could trick ourselves and other people. And I might do some imagery so you can understand with alchemy or images when we see Mercury and how it shows up and how that translates to other topics and other things. But how I'm describing Mercury does fall in line with what the energy is. That's a good idea. I was recently talking to a guy who has a Pisces rising who's trying to get into tarot. I suggest sleeping with the cards on the pillow to him. Yeah, that's a good technique. I suggest it to anybody, especially when you're doing spiritual. It's a spiritual technique because spirit and Pisces and dreams are all of that is under Pisces. So my boy a genius. He's too trusting and innocent around outside people. That's the issue with Pisces. It's unfortunate. It's just their gag. That's just what they do.
And also, the reason why BMORE is doing a separate thing on this, because this is like whatever zodiac sign is in Mercury, as in all the other planets as well, is actually quite fascinating, because it shows you your task in life of what you're supposed to communicate to the world, what you are supposed to bring to the world. So I know people get scared when they hear detriment and fall and all that. Don't get scared. It just means that you're supposed to do things in a different way that the Earth, that the particular planet may not be comfortable with at first, but once you master it,
it's fine.
You'll be powerful.
And honestly, it takes more than just it being in detriment to really determine how raggedy that part is, because I've seen people who had technically exalted placements, but their aspect is really raggedy. So they gotta, even though it's a good, the planet likes to be in that sign, they gotta work real hard to make it work, get something out of there.
Also, BMORE, I believe someone was asking what rules Aquarius, so you probably want to let them know that.
Okay, so if you have a Mercury in Aquarius, and I'm gonna go back to the differences in Pisces in a minute, but Aquarius rules speculation, the future, bohemian people who are weird and quirky, science, technology, silver, and particularly not the silver metal. Think more aluminum foil, um, kind of like almost like a cobalt blue. It rules that as well. It rules rebellion. It rules science, space, and technology. So these are things in which, if you have a Mercury in Aquarius, this is how you learn, and this is how you learn efficiently. Aquarius, in particularly, because it's a Uranus thing, because they can have sparks of genius. They can be quite genius and quite efficient, and they can see things in the future. Or they have speculative literature. They can do speculation quite well, and so
It's actually a beautiful placement with Mercury. The only thing you got to worry for is maybe if you could have moments of being too hostile in
yeah,
your
you can be hostile
communication.
talking to. I do notice
Very
that with
tower
Mercury.
oriented.
Yeah,
So, and then your words can break things down versus
yeah.
where Virgo breaks things down in a very organized
I guess
way. Go ahead.
the best way to say, because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus,
Yeah.
is that they can have sparks of genius on the structures of things, so they can understand concepts really well, and maybe you would have to understand a concept before moving forward.
Right.
If you understand a concept, you can move forward and feel very confident. I know it's that in general about air signs, but in particular, Aquarius can be quite good at this. It in the air, the Mercury ruled signs, they want to study things very deeply before moving on into the task or initiating certain tasks.
Also, we have Alicia wants to know about Mercury in Aries.
Mercury in Aries or Mars in Aries?
She made a mistake. She said she meant Mercury in Aries.
Okay, so Neptune rules Aquarius. No, the rulers for Aquarius is Uranus and Saturn. The traditional ruler of Aquarius is Saturn. The newer rulership of Aquarius, because Uranus got discovered around the French Revolution.
Yeah.
So it's not a traditional or old planet. That's, even though the French Revolution is hundreds of years old, it's still considered a new discovery because of how old astrology is. So it's ruled by traditionally Saturn. That's the traditional ruler, and then Uranus. So
and that's important to know, because if you learn other astrology tools or systems, they may not include Uranus. So then you would have to know that Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius. But there are a lot of modern systems though that include Uranus and also includes Neptune.
Yeah. So Mercury. So when you have a Mercury and Mars, and Mercury in Aries, Aries rules who you are, your own creative fire, going into challenges, going out into world to conquer things. It rules weapons, moving fast, challenges. It also rules bloodshed as well, dealing with people who are insensitive and saying insensitive things. So maybe you deal with that, or maybe you interact with a lot of people who can say insensitive things to you.
Being combative.
Yeah. So dealing with a lot of verbal confrontation. Or being verbally impulsive, people not thinking things clearly, and that's why it's insensitive.
And it also depends on where your Mars is. If you have a dignified Mars with an Aries and Mercury, it could come out being beneficial to you, as in all of these zodiac signs. And Mercury, whatever is their ruler, if it's dignified, you get some more oomph to it.
I want to do a few more comments, and then we're going to get back into the Mercury and Pisces. Are we in some type of transit currently? My BFF is getting divorced, and I know two people in the same city that just had to move out their homes in the last week. Yes, that is a transit. We'll talk more about that later. I actually feel like that's there's also that ties into the whole Uranus and Taurus transit that's been going on for a few years. But I'll keep that in mind to have conversations about in passing. But yeah, that is it. My Mercury is in the Libra in the 6th house, which means I have a lot of work to do. Technically, no. Mercury in Libra isn't a bad placement. You know, it's not weak there, so you should be fine. That also means that verbally you can get along with a lot of people, especially people at work. That's not a bad placement.
What placement?
Libra and Mercury. Libra and the Sun is where you have an issue at.
Libra and Mercury, you could even write very sweet poetry.
Or you could be a lawyer.
You could write
you can
contracts.
Help people get along,
Yeah. Another one, I think Mercury and Taurus, very sensual. So if you go into writing that deals with sensuality, or you can really woo people like butter,
Yeah.
with how you talk.
All right. So let's get back and get into the differences now of the Mercury and Pisces. So the differences. Mercury rules being good with words and numbers and counting. Mercury also rules the number 7. Pisces rules lacking critical thought, knowing all, but again, can't sort out any of these details. And so, this is an issue when you have one that's very exact. They're good at critical thought, they're good, there is an exactitude, but Pisces doesn't have that. It's actually very confused, and it doesn't have any critical thoughts, it doesn't have any sharp thoughts. That's why when I do notice when people meet a lot of Pisces, they do associate that. Sometimes they be like, this is like a light or airheady type of vibe or energy. Like, I can see why they feel that, because Pisces is not really known for having very heavy thoughts in those types of ways. Mercury deals with the post office and mail and like forms of like papers and envelopes and stuff. Pisces rules dreams, visions, and wanting to link up with the collective. So another way that they can link up with the collective or want to think is through paperwork, mail, or writing letters to each other. But this can also come into dreams, and that's why I said like putting the deck, the spiritual paper or spiritual connection, because tarot can spiritually connect you to the answers or with other people. You put it on your head, so anything that falls in line with it, you can kind of make it work. Mercury rules reading books and magazine. Pisces again, Pisces has issues with like those types of things. Actually, Pisces move actually more towards surrendering, paranoia, confusion, and sensitivity. And that's why the whole playing tricks on people can be kind of hard for them, or even reading or completing these types of things could be hard, because again, they'll have confusion with reading. It's really hard for them to sit down and finish these types of things, because they don't really have the same type of motives. Again, Mercury rules with communication, talking all the time, tech. Pisces more so rules compassion, serving others, and merging, being accommodating. Serving others. What would be the greatest good? Mercury doesn't really want to serve others or deal with the greatest good. It actually just wants to deal with itself and be self-involved.
And the quest for knowledge, too, in a interesting way, when they talk about even the energies that are connected to it, Thoth and Hermes. Mm-hmm. Although they have their BMORE and I was talking about which one and which. I kind of lean towards, we both lean towards Thoth probably being the Virgo end of it, and Hermes being the Gemini end.
Yeah. In addition to this, Pisces again can get caught in the wrong crowd and get caught in traps. They're not very sharp at that unless it's aspected somewhere else. Mercury deals with deep penetrating exactitudes and perceptions, being very sharp. Pisces can do with seeing enemies as friends and friends as enemies, which deals with the paranoia and the confusion. And they can sense a lot of things, but not really the bad stuff, which also can turn them cynical, because they can see the best in all things and then become very cynical after all this. And so they deal with the extremes of everyone's good and then everyone's bad. And what they really need to learn is that anyone could be good or bad at any time, during any situation, any circumstance. Just give it enough time. Let's see. Mercury rules sharp wit, comedy, and humor, and glibness. Pisces rules being gullible, joining crowds when things aren't a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Mercury rules maps, vehicles, roads, staying in motion, speed, and swiftness. I guess you could say the lack of boundaries or the expansiveness of boundaries can kind of go into certain forms of travel, but not really much.
Oh, that's a good one too. How does travel works for people, like physical travel works for people with Pisces and Mercury, or this transit?
We would have to see, but I would not. Quick travel isn't. We would have to be careful where it is, how it's aspected. I don't know these people's charts, but you would still have to be careful, because Mercury wants to do quick forms of travel, getting into vehicles, getting on the roads. Pisces is kind of can be confusion, self undoing. So I can see a lot of confusion and undoing when people are driving.
Right. So we can.
But I'll keep going into it because you'll see where the self undoing could be with travel.
Right.
And this could also be with losing things. So losing your mind, which is Mercury and Pisces, losing maps, losing a vehicle, the dynamics like this. You also have siblings, youth, and twins. That is what Mercury rules. Pisces really doesn't rule that. It really deals with spiritual families, spiritual father. Pisces can rule things like, I guess, oneness or unity, but not necessarily like siblings in that dynamic.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, Pisces
we're all family. We're all the human race.
The collective of the subconscious.
We're all, and this is why they had the religious thing. Like when you go to a church and they be like, "These are my brothers and sisters." It rules that, but not actual.
I can see some of the synergy siblings, because Mercury has like neighbors. It's not all the way fitting, but there's a bit of.
Because Mercury is like actually you're related to them. Pisces is like all humans are my brothers.
Or neighbors too.
We're all united.
Right.
So in those types of things. You also have Mercury ruling the eyes, fingers, brain, and voice box. It rules merchants or selling anything. It rules versatility and coordination. Talking while not listening. Remaining deft and outwitting opponents in arguments, which really don't match. So like the coordination, Pisces have a trouble of getting on track. So I can't see them being hyper coordinated because they have trouble staying focused.
The only way they can be coordinated is through
however else is aspected. I don't know.
In tune completely with their intuition, and it depends on the other aspects, right?
And again, talking while not listening, I can see that being a thing. Like you ask them a question, what? And then as far as in remaining depth, outwitting opponents in arguments, Pisces can actually rule sleaze factor and rule being a victim. So I can see them attracting sleazy people or becoming a victim somewhere, because it's just they have to learn not to bounce from extremes, not to be hyper idealistic, but also not to be hyper cynical either.
And your Pisces placements, wherever you don't trust your intuition, you're gonna always lose.
Always lose. Catch an L.
You gotta follow the intuition wherever the Pisces is placed.
Yeah. And so again, Mercury rules being elusive. It rules the mind. Pisces rules particularly the unconscious part of the mind. It rules unity and it rules oneness. And so what it wants a oneness and unity with the mind. But Mercury kind of wants to have a conscious aspect, where Pisces wants to have like a deep unconscious aspect that they really kind of struggle to get along there. They struggle to get along there. I'm going to be honest. Like, because one person wants to have an unconscious thing and the other person wants to have a conscious thing. It's like, if y'all watch Demon Slayer and you see the one that only can fight real good when he go to sleep, it's kind of, some of that energy is kind of like that. Like, there's a consciousness and there's unconscious. The conscious is a scaredy cat. The unconsciousness, he can fight. It's falling very close in line with that. So there's a very big split or divide. All right. Does anyone have any questions before we start moving into people rising signs?
I guess before you go into that, I just also wanted to put out there for people to just be careful when you're traveling. Yeah. As BMORE talking about, because Pisces is in Mercury as an overall transit for people. Just make sure that you're wise when traveling.
Yeah. Just be careful, because Pisces also rules intoxication, candles, allergies, drugs. And so I can see people traveling while under the influence. Which there could be an uptick of drunk drivers, right now. Dude with the orange. So any other question? Do your traveling rituals right. Y'all better start praying, because again, Pisces rules spirituality. Y'all better pray before y'all travel.
That's a good one. Pray before you travel. Have patience too. These transits also is not about aggression, so don't go like don't flip no one a middle finger, because we're getting closer to Saturn and Pisces as well. because that means there's a higher chance someone pull a.
It's traps.
Someone
being
may
a victim.
You put a middle finger. You driving the car. Someone may pull a gun out.
Yeah.
You never know what can happen.
You
so
don't.
You gotta be wise.
Yes, you do.
Digital said even when your Mercury is in Virgo. So
okay.
So he's asking you, how does a transit work if you if your natal chart is Mercury in
Well,
Virgo?
that would imply that what's going to happen with the Mercury, because Pisces and Virgo are sister signs, they're opposing. That means that at some point the transiting Mercury in your natal placement doesn't change. The transit changes all the time. It changes every month. The transit is going to end up opposing your natal placement, wherever that is in your chart. Just wait on it. If it's in the early degrees of Mercury, it's probably already doing it. If it's in a later degree, give it enough time, it's going to do it. So that's what's going to happen. But there is a natal placement where you're born under no matter what. And then there's a transit which comes and moves around, and everyone's under the influence. It just depends where you have it, because your natal chart is in a circle. And so wherever you have the Pisces placement in your chart will tell you what house or where you're going to feel it. So.
Right, and how transit works too. The Mercury in Pisces may be hitting a different house from where you're,
or a different planet or anything. But because I know that your Virgo is opposed to Pisces, your Mercury is going to be it's going to be in opposition with Mercury. So your natal Mercury is going to be in opposition with transiting Mercury. It's going to create a hard aspect. So there will probably be a relationship that you will have to learn about everything I just described with transiting Mercury, and what you have to learn about your natal, what you already know about your natal Mercury placement.
Also, y'all could text BMORE. BMORE, I don't know if you want to put your number in there again.
I don't.
But she's playing around. Text BMORE if you want more questions on this. If you want a transited chart reading, she'll let you know the prices as well. Also, Zenitsu.
That's his name. The little orange one.
Sean was talking about, and we're gonna agree with you on this. He's definitely a Mercury and Pisces candidate.
Yeah, because if you ask him, he's a Mercury and Pisces. That's a promise. If you ask him to do something, fight, he run around the house with you. He hide behind. Right. But when he taps into his unconsciousness, he fighting, he killing people. I'm like, okay.
But it shows you the power of Pisces. Like, remember, Pisces rules Christ consciousness and the power of the divine at its highest full potential.
Yes.
But it also rules underworld and fear. Mm-hmm. So if you're a Pisces Mercury person and you're having all these nightmares and stuff, that's a part of that
I would say
consciousness.
Pisces rules the underworld. I would say that's more Mercury things, which I'll go into later, because Mercury is technically the lord of borders and boundaries, and he goes from the higher realms into the underworld, which is a whole different thing, because technically Mercury is Apollo, but we'll break it down. But I can see where the fear in the underworld and destruction is not necessarily the zodiac sign doing it, it's the planet doing it.
Well, remember when we read about 12th house in Pisces, though, where it'd be like at the height is Christ consciousness, and then at the bottom is all this debris of the subconscious collective of people, of the fear. And with that character, when he's conscious, he's walking around with the collective consciousness of fear. Yeah. But then when he hits into his subconscious,
when he goes to sleep,
the Christ consciousness and the power of Zenness come out of him, and he's one of the most deadliest characters on that show. Now, what Pisces people should learn from that show is, how do you connect that to your waking life? Not just in dream state, not with no split personality.
Because he has a low-key split. That's another thing. Again, because Pisces is the mind, and Mercury is the mind, and Pisces rules belief, but Pisces also rules hospitals. So there could be an uptick of people having allergic reactions or getting sick or having...
Give it a couple of seconds.
Okay,
now.
Okay, so you could see an uptick of people going to jail, or a subconscious thing with criminal imprisonment behaviors, or mental illness, because Pisces in certain regards does kind of loom over certain dynamics with people who aren't always mentally there, or they have mental issues. And so you could start seeing more mental health crises, You could start seeing more insecurity. You could start seeing people with issues with health, issues with drugs, issues with allergies, kind of going on. And Zenitsu kind of has a split personality
He
because
does.
there's a part of him that's very fearful, and there's a part of him that's very formidable. And you always see it. As a matter of fact, the fact that he even has like a lightning theme, which is synonymous with Jupiter, which is the ruler of Pisces. He actually is very highly coded that actually goes in line with what I'm saying. Like, I actually would not be shocked if he had a Mercury in Pisces because Jupiter rules lightning and thunder, and that's kind of what he got on lock anyway.
And this is a perfect example for you of what the universe wants. The universe wants for you Pisceans, whatever the Pisces is at in your placement, to bring the unseen and intuition into the real world, into this 3D realm. So if you're fearful about doing that, though, it can cause great harm to you.
Right.
You know, but if you become comfortable in it, you conquer your fears or the collective subconscious fears of this world, of this universe, and you connect into that deep power, you are to bring it. A perfect example of somebody who was able to do that is Albert Einstein. He was able to, in physics, and he was able to bring the universal principles of the Piscean energy, but bring it into the real world. He used his dreams, decoded them, put them into the real world. So that's something that all people with wherever your Pisces placement is, that's the way you have to go about it. In fact, the dream is the initial seed to decode and to bring it into
Yeah.
this reality.
So, this dark horse, this transit will be starting from now, and then Mercury will leave Pisces around the 20th or the 21st of March. So this will be going on for a couple of weeks. Like, while it goes through the zodiac sign, which I'll be doing the weekly astrology, the forecast, I'll be doing that each week. But right now, it won't be as bad because it's highly linked to Saturn right now. And Saturn is keeping some of the reins, it's keeping some of the boundaries intact with what it can, because can't not Cancer. Saturn is still in Aquarius, which is in his rulership, and so it's keeping some of the boundaries there on that little bit raggedy Mercury and Pisces right now. But as it goes through, we're going to see a lot of different things because we do have different planets and stuff in Pisces. We have the sun in Pisces right now, we have Neptune in Pisces, and so these will create different types of effects on other people in situations. So that's it. But right now, what you're going to see, because we also have Jupiter and Venus conjunct, that means they're touching each other, and it's also conjunct with Chiron. And so what we're going to be seeing is we're going to be seeing great works of healing and great works of learning about your own healing and the power of love, and particularly loving yourself, because this is in Aries, and Aries deals with yourself. It deals with who you are, you understanding the zest of life, or understanding life, or taking on challenges in life. It rules the I am. And so we have Jupiter, which deals with wisdom and luck and knowledge, and then we have Venus, which deals with love, money, partnership, and beauty, and then we have Chiron, which deals with grief, processing, and illness or medicine. What we have is, like, when you hear that gospel song, like, is there a balm in Gilead? This is where the balm is. This is where the healing is. And so that there's a healing aspect in combination with this whole Mercury and Pisces. And now, right now, it's creating a little bit of a square, like a semi-square. It is putting a little bit of roughness up. And this is where the insecurity is. This is where the Mercury and Pisces is showing its ugly head, because when Venus, Jupiter, and Chiron was touching last week, remember last week when I did the forecast, I said, through the week, we're going to get more healing, and you're going to feel more confident about your healing. It be a little raggedy, but at some point you're going to figure it out and master it. Now that we have Mercury coming into play conjunct Saturn, there will be a little insecurity about certain aspects. Wherever you have that Pisces placement and wherever you have your Aries placement, the insecurity will come. It basically is going to test whatever you learned last week, or really this week, because we're still in it. But whatever you learned about yourself and who you are, it's going to test it. It's going to test the wisdom that you acquired recently.
And also, it's kind of funny. before I get into the funny thing, Jupiter and Venus actually could be one of the most auspicious connections, but it's in Aries. And so that's the little twist. And then also one thing I have to say about orange soda. One thing is funny about him that's very Piscean. He was only able to master
one.
One.
It is
one move because he was only able to do one move. But it's funny how Pisces works. Let's say in a day-to-day life you practice something and you're like, damn, I'm dumb. I'm just not getting it. And one day you go to sleep and then you wake up and you know how to do it.
And that's his thing. He probably could do more. He don't even know. He keeps saying he only know one. He probably knows more than one.
Well, he only know one because he only studied for one, and he was insecure. His father or grandfather didn't have time to teach him the other moves.
But y'all see where the issues are. Y'all, that's a prime example of that Mercury and Pisces. Like, it's very interesting.
We're not talking about his sun sign. We talk about we think his Mercury's in Pisces.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Actually, if he's a Virgo, that would very much so actually add into why, because they will be opposing. So his identity, who he is on one side, but who he thinks he is something else.
Right.
So he
got the Pisces and Mercury to the Virgo sun.
Right. So who he is like, he's actually really good. You know, a Virgo, they can be quite technical. He's a technically good, strong fighter. Who he thinks he is, he thinks that he's a victim, and that's the problem.
And he thinks he's fearful in his
mind. Because, like, can you imagine y'all called the demon police in here, and he running around behind you scared? I'm like, B, I called you to help me. Mm-hmm. You know, not you running behind me, girl.
We both running now.
Yeah, right, get out of here. But that's the point, though. That actually, who he thinks he is and who he actually is. So that's the personality split. All right. So let's get into the general themes of this square. So you want to see Saturn and Venus, not Saturn and Venus, Saturn and Mercury conjunct. And so what this gives, it gives deep precision. It gives concentration. It can give ability to research things very deeply. Even though Mercury is in Pisces, Saturn is still in Aquarius. And so this will follow themes of like researching things for the future, speculative things, technology, people being different, being contrarian, taking up challenges. Particularly like in rebellion, science, space. And so there'll be a thing where you want to think more of the future or have more sparks of geniuses, but you have it connected to Mercury and Pisces. And so this will be a space where there's more an intuitive way to tap into your genius, or where you'll have expansive knowledge at, particularly in themes around the future and providing structure and restrictions. There are mental structures and restrictions, and so it can add some structure to Pisces, the Mercury and Pisces, where it lacks a bit of the structure. In a few days, Saturn, it will move into Pisces along with Mercury, but it moves a bit slower. So right now we just have Mercury and Pisces. And so that's what you're kind of dealing with when those two run around. The worst part of this is that outside of creating deep concentration, it can spawn negative thinking. It can spawn thinking of issues of the past and not moving forward, and maybe some little sad feelings or some depression. And so maybe those things can kind of overlap. Hey, Manny. So like you can have some of those things spring up, particularly wherever house it's in your chart.
Also, I don't know if this, I think this may actually formulate into the transits as well. So Andrew Tate, who's always about health and I'm top G, Bugattis everywhere, ain't no man as healthy as me. Well, a mystery is now been solved. He has lung cancer, which I'm not making fun of anybody who got lung cancer. I don't do that with people's health. But
that's the point.
But this was
drugs.
That and the fact that would you say this Mercury and Pisces is going to give shocking information, maybe things that people didn't know.
Because Saturn is still in Aquarius, so again, shocking and surprising things.
Right.
And so the shock and surprise with Mercury communicating about drugs. So it's unfortunate. This is what I'm saying about you can get shocking accidents, things that are tied to your health that could be about drugs or allergies. So y'all see what I'm saying? Yes, this is a prime example. But, y'all should really take care of yourselves. Make sure y'all get all of y'all visits and checkups. Y'all pray before y'all go places. Because you can see, like I said, drugs, mentally ill people, shocks, surprises, because Saturn is still there.
And plus, if he really does have cancer, which seems like he does, It's interesting when you do things in your life, the good or bad, whatever. It's interesting when you're confronting a form of possible death, and it's something that's slow. It's interesting how the mind is trying to compute that.
That's funny because I think he's a Sag rising.
He's a triple. He's like a double. Yeah, double.
That's funny
Sag.
because guess what's the first thing I did? I did Sag first this week. I don't know why. Something said just do Sag.
We'll see.
You know, but
and then you want to get into it then?
I'm gonna finish reading up the general vibe and then we'll go into it.
Into Sag, okay.
So because like the Saturn, we talked about where the healing and the wisdom of healing, what you learn, they're square. So when we have Saturn and Venus, they're gonna make a square. So this talks about relationships ending or strengthening, or you can meet your new soulmate, or take on more responsibilities and learn about saving financially, or take on more responsibilities in your relationship dynamics. This can also deal with learning how to deal with forms of restrictions and learning to deal with conservatism and structure versus your own personal freedom, comfort, and healing and processing, which I guess you could say falls in line with Andrew Tate wherever he has in his chart, because there's a personal freedom and a structure and responsibility issue. And so like you smoked a lot and now you have cancer, and so because of the lack of restriction, this is where I guess who you are, insecure, and also victimhood can fall into line as well. You also get a lot of info. Try to listen to great advice. Relationships with siblings, or just with people can sometimes seem a bit upbeat. Just these past couple days, but the themes of healing, processing, and medicine versus restrictions, authority, insecurity, or tough luck or hard lessons, particularly around health, siblings, travel, and communication and learning.
It's interesting you talk about healing. We just heard that. Forgive me, I'm gonna look up her name later. But the black female scientist who came out and said basically she created a technology that can cure cancer without anyone having adverse effects and having to go. So this is when we talk about the possibility of healing. Here's a aspect of healing right there that she comes out during this transit
with technology, which Mercury rules technology, Pisces rules disease, illness, and medication. And Saturn in Aquarius rules technology, and so she's an authority. Saturn rules an authority in technology that rules health or medicine. We also want to deal with themes about love, comfort, partners, and beauty versus restrictions, authority, insecurity, tough luck, health, siblings, travel, communication, and learning. So there could be restrictions on beauty, restrictions on your love life, on your comfort, on your partners as well. So these are the general themes. And so it's going to test whatever the healing and processing and the medicine, or comfort and love that you, those types of things that you've learned recently. So the first rising sign that we're going to do is going to be Sag, because I really didn't do these in any order. I just went with whichever one.
You went with your intuition.
I went with my intuition as a Pisces. and look, we got Andrew Tate. So
right.
This is going to deal with for the Sag risings. If you don't know your rising signs, please let me know. Other people will try to help you in the chat. The chat is friendly. Most people will try to help you troubleshoot. You know, if you're still having difficulties, you know, put in the chat and, you know, we'll try to help you out as best as possible. So for Sag risings, this will occur into your third house. The third house deals with messages, communications, forms of travel, siblings, dynamics like that. Also other forms of relatives too. So the positive thing about this aspect is that it gives people vitality, curiosity. The negative side is that it may cause distractibility and certain forms of restlessness. They also can be very, very prudent and honest. They can also feel like there's a lot of obstructions and difficulties around people in the public, or gaining certain forms of popularity or in communication, or certain things that deals with community. They also easily get tired, and they might suffer from colds, attacks, or forms of illness, which is ironic. He was a Sag rising, but you know, they could deal with getting sick under this transit, which is in my notes. But
and the fact that he lived a stressful life, and we told people like that, and then also we told people this is not a good transit to be mean towards women.
It's not.
And we're not talking about mean towards a female who did something wrong. It's not about kissing
not defending yourself.
It's not about not defending yourself, but I'm gonna tell you right now, and I've seen it already. There are quietly men in positions of power that are doing programs for women, and it's probably because they go to occultics and stuff. But right now, the transits are for men who are doing things with women, nice to women. They are going to have good luck.
Yeah.
It's just like there's transits that um, give advantages to the masculine energy, and then there's transit that gives power to the feminine energy or leanings towards the feminine energy.
Yeah, everyone has their turn.
Right.
You know, there's transit that are great for kids. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So the ruler of this placement is in the fourth house, and so he'll have hidden issues that aren't seen because the fourth house rules things that are hidden, which is a hidden illness for him in this case, dealing with Pisces. Issues with real estate, issues with land, contracts, neighbors, siblings, and forms of travel. This will also conjunct Aries in the fourth, so dealing with issues around his, again, health, healing who you are and learning who you are, or putting up some challenges around your own healing and your own wisdom around healing. And it's in the fourth house. It deals with home, family, real estate, those types of dynamics. There can also be misunderstanding and deceptions at home, or lying to yourself, or there's a hidden deception that you don't know about or other people don't know about. This will give you, again, deep focus. Again, issues with regret from the past. Oh, that's another thing. In general, this can also give you a little bit of a tech issue these next couple days that it should subside over time, but there could be a slight tech issue. The issues will center around the third, the fourth, and the sixth house for him. So communication, siblings, relatives. The fourth house is home, and then sixth house is health. The sixth house is working with other people.
That makes sense because Andrew Tate is a Sag rising. Those three things have hit him. Then also we're talking about travel. He has to travel from the prison to the hospital versus if regret of actions. If he wasn't in prison, he could focus full time on his health.
And so this can provide distancing from siblings and relatives.
Another thing, he was not granted. Family were not granted to see him. So you just said.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm literally feeling.
Yeah, because I really don't be paying attention to that, man.
Right, he was supposed to get 4 people that were supposed to visit him in prison. And now it makes sense with this transit. Right. He hasn't been able to see his family.
Right. And so with Uranus, the ruler of Saturn in the 6th, this deals with a job change, changes with freedom, or freedom at work, or changes in the body or health, or changes with physical freedom in your physical body. Which is everything that Sam brought up.
Also, this transit means slip up in language.
It is.
Putting people government name out there.
Okay, they know your name.
I know they do
know your name, so it's fine.
Well, with Mercury and Pisces transit, maybe they'll forget.
That is true. Like my MIB swipe their ass. So this is a lot of info to sort through, and can take. It's best to take advice. The Sag rising, to take advice and do not do anything impulsive or wishful thinking. There could be a quiet romance or finance aspects that are coming through. Particularly that are new, like new finance, new romance types of dynamics, or new abundance and those types of things. You will want to be close to your family, but there will be distance there no matter what you do. And you also have a little bit of the sun conjuncting the fourth from the third, and so there will be a part of you where you want to be able to, the identity or the sun, you want to get home, but there will be a little bit of an issue.
What do you think is a good thing for people to do to cope with that for right now? Like, they want to see their family, for those who do, but for whatever reason this transit it's just not working. What advice would you give them how to deal with this transit right now?
Outside of the minor tech issues, I know this sounds weird, but letters are on the table. Like they're physically writing letters, because Mercury rules papers and mail, and Pisces rules poetry and letters. There is a slight technology issue these next couple of days. So you could have some slight tech issues this week. But with this coming in, this actually could, be a way. You might have to write a letter this week. Take it back old school.
I think that's a good idea. Writing a letter, a short travel to the post office.
Yeah.
And just doing what you need to do.
All right. So, any questions from my Sag risings before I move on to Capricorns?
One last suggestion I'll give too: meditation. meditation as well. It helps calm you down.
Yeah, they're gonna be sitting the Sage risings down. Y'all gonna get y'all wings clipped a little bit this week, and y'all could not be feeling well. It's a lot of health, especially with this Mercury, how it moves through, and this will be the next couple weeks from. It'll be in this sign, and until March 21st. So it will not leave, folks. The Sage risings. This will be what's on the menu for 3 weeks at least.
You're gonna have to sit down, wake up, drink your tea, and do what you need to do.
Yeah. It says, you, Topaz, you wasn't wrong about the health. Earlier this week, my stomach was killing me. Yeah, I can see that, but this will be a common theme throughout the next 3 weeks. Up until the 20th or around the 21st. So you really should just try to focus and take care of yourself, and not necessarily focus on family or connecting with family or communicating or any of those types of things, you know. So just try to focus on taking care of yourself.
Everybody go to the doctor. Sagittarius risers, go to the doctor.
Yeah,
get your checkups.
You could have some aspects of a new romance or new money, or a new love coming in, but try to take care of your health, because it's just coming.
BMORE Digital said, at least I get
your
a new
boo. On digital, you got to get them nerves down. As long as you can secure the nerves, if you could take some L-theanine, you're good.
Lauren said, are you reading all the risings or just certain ones today?
All of the risings are being done today, and no, I did not get to Aquarius yet, but I'm doing all the risings. So now we're about to move into Capricorn risings. So for Capricorn risings, this will occur in your second house, right? So, LOL, y'all ate me up with the therapy babe. It's true. It's okay. It's okay. You know, listen, there is someone for everyone, and love never off the menu. You know, anybody can find what they need and what they're looking for. It's a big word out here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Capricorn, this is in your second house. So with Mercury conjunct Saturn, this is, again, deep focus, have issues with past regrets. The mechanical issues can be around your second, third, and fourth house. So this is your property, forms of self-esteem. In your third house, it deals with communication. In your fourth house, it deals with home. So these are the types of things that they're really going to be circulating around. Mercury, again, it'll make you feel vital and make you curious. And with Saturn pushing up against your ascendant, it'll make you more prudent and more honest. You'll kind of try to rein certain things in as it revolves around your second house and what you own. And since the ruler is in the second house, this can limit income or make you very prudent on your budget, how much you're spending. This can also make you very prudent on your self-esteem and the things that you own or self-possession in certain ways. The ruler of Mercury being your third house. So again, there will be miscommunications. There will be wishful thinkings. You could come off insensitive to other people, or other people can come off insensitive to you. There'll be inspiration in art, music, videos. There'll be contracts, neighbors, relatives. All of these types of things can be deceptive. There are deceptive forms of communications that are around art, music, videos, contracts, neighbors, relatives. There's something is not telling someone, or something is not being truthful. The next thing is a ruler of Saturn is in the fourth. So there could be a change of home right now. You can leave the nest or want domestic independence, or wanting to begin or have hidden independence, which could be around your home. And there could also be influence where you want to get over childhood influences. So there's a part of you that you want to grow out of certain restrictions or certain issues that you had tied to your childhood. The positive thing about some of these transits are it gives a lot of people a lot of skill. They can be quite original in their thinking and behavior. The downside is that these people have a desire to surprise and shock others at any cost. Because Pluto is in the first house. Shoot, I missed my notes. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. Okay, because Pluto in the first house, they can be quite extreme and very extreme. And because the ruler of this is in the 10th and the 11th house, we can do this around friends. We can do this around social groups. And this can affect our social standing, because Scorpio could probably be the ruler, not always, but most likely, the ruler of your 10th house. And so in this regard, this can really affect how people view you and public opinion of you, because you're being extreme because you want to have this thirst for freedom and you want to switch things up. You want to take whatever you learn about this, and it's really hard for you to kind of, I guess, incorporate whatever this freedom and healing that you have centering around your possessions, who you are and what you own. It's hard for you to take it out and bring it to the real world. And so this can make you have a lot of extreme behaviors, and you're willing to go to extremes to prove that, I'm free. I don't really need none of this. I can stand on my own. I have this. Can be an issue. Let me see. Damn Cap. I'm trying to get like y'all. Yeah, the Capricorn risings are really, it sounds like they're trying to Stella get their groove back, like with their former independence, wherever it is. It's like when y'all watch a movie and they go into this whole like the whole movie is the theme of self-discovery, and they want to prove how independent they are and really like take life by the horns. Is giving that. So a lot of the things, there'll be a lot of a lot of laughing, socializing, relaxation in your relationships. But you really will have to focus on communications, because remember, Mercury is in detriment, and so it's kind of weak right now. It's not the strongest that it can be for these types of things. But persuasion can be good. You can be persuaded, and you can persuade, well, really, you can persuade other people. The public speaking could be good. Programming your mind or education, or like maybe giving a speech at work can be really well. This will be really good for your MC, and you could succeed at work and your career or public recognition. But there can be a little bit of distraction because, again, the Mercury isn't as strong with it being in Pisces. With the Saturn and Venus, again, relationships will end, but some will strengthen. Again, there's a theme of meeting a soulmate, or you can meet somebody with this little bit in these past, towards this week. Mercury will move quick enough where it will pass in a few days. So in these next couple of days, you could meet somebody, or you could end a relationship with someone as well. And you could take on more responsibilities, and so you should learn about saving and learn about being financially responsible. And then you also, it's a thing about learning how to forget how to deal, I guess you could say learning how to deal with restrictions and conservatism and these types of dynamics. All right, so now we are going to be with Aquarius. Let me see. Okay, so now we're on Aquarius risings. So this will occur in the first house. Pluto is in the first house. It will conjunct the first house from the 12th. Not always, but if you are in a very early degree of this could be an issue. And so this deals with unconscious dynamics and power and control. And it's pushing onto your first house, and it can make you some of the power and control antics come up to the surface, or come up yourself, like towards you anyway. Like it comes out of you. The sun is in your first house, and so it deals with self-evaluation. Well, Saturn, my bad. Saturn is in the first house. So it deals with self-evaluation, and you want to evaluate yourself for the future. And so the ruler for Saturn in this case, and the ascendant, is in the third house, which deals with being innovative and having an open mind. But you should expect the unexpected in your daily life. Shocking events from relatives and siblings and neighbors could just emerge out of nowhere. Mercury, which is the ruler, is in the second house. So there can be an increase of money, an increased sense of self. Please plan for the future, because some of these aspects with Pisces being here and in Jupiter, they can be a lack of responsibility in how you're saving and how you're planning. You should mind your financial choices, because you could lose money, and you could also learn self-values. Well, you can learn self-value and the value of possession and money through the law. So you can quickly gain, quickly lose, but the lesson overall will teach you about the value of yourself and how you worked hard to put yourself in these positions, but how you can also lose money, because it kind of is weird. Because sometimes when you take L's, it gives you a lesson. So it teaches you how I should respect myself and how much effort I put into putting myself out here, getting what I need to get, and lining myself up for success. You need to be responsible, because responsibility is on the menu. It's a lot of things about self-evaluation. This isn't a thing about wanting to be free. No, bunker down, save your money. A lot of shocking things can come at the time, Evaluate yourself for the future. Is this how you want to be forever? Because there's an unconscious part of yourself that you want to fight for power and control in these dynamics, but try to take it easy. You should really think about, on a subconscious level, why do you feel like you need to do all of these things? Because Pluto will be moving into Aquarius very soon, and so whatever you are struggling to control on a subconscious level is going to spill out no matter what. Actually, Pluto will be moving into Aquarius this month. I will probably make a video on it because Pluto in Aquarius will last for 20 years. And so what I do about the transits during this time for Pluto, that'll be what you're going to experience for the next 20 years. So whatever you need to plan for the future, Aquarius risings, because it's in your first house, which deals with your body, deals with your personality. It's a little bit different when you have it in certain aspects of your life versus who you are. Like, it's you doing these things. You can't even blame anyone. So I would really encourage for the Aquarius risings to really think about what they're doing on a subconscious level and to bunker down, because this transit, when I do the Pluto in Aquarius, this will happen for the next 20 years. So how I'm reading everyone's risings, this ain't going to pass. Like how Mercury and Pisces, this will pass in a few weeks. For this transit, when I do that, all the rising signs, this will not leave for 20 years. 20. So this is why Saturn being in your first house is causing you to have a lot of self-reflection about what you want and start taking inventory and self-evaluation. What the F, 20 years, my kids better be in college. They might be. Lord, y'all trying to make me responsible. It's not me. The universe says it's time. It's time to bunker down and be responsible. Change these freedom dynamics. All of y'all Aquarius risings, y'all want to blow here. Y'all want to be rebels. Y'all want to do what y'all want to do. Get serious. I need to retire in a few years. Get serious. The Aquarius risings, get serious. Stop it. Whatever it is, because Pluto is in the 12th house for y'all. Y'all fucking around. Now, once this thing switch over this month, you're stuck. Get your house in order, amen? Get your house in order. Y'all better start sweeping. I better hear spirituals every Sunday. Clean the fuck out. Because it's your first house. Everyone is going to have it in the next 20 years somewhere. They're going to have, everyone is going to have it. But it's in your first house. So that's your body, how you come across, your personality. It's your physical vessel. It's who you are. Like, it's not like, oh, this my kids, it's my husband, it's somebody at work. No, it's you. It's you. And I know that's scary for y'all because it's an energy that's not going to go anywhere. Soon as Libra rising comes up, putting my... hold on. I'm putting my... Hold on. These are moving a little slow. Hold on. I'm putting my Wacom pen down and going to take serious notes. I need more to get me together. Well, some people, I think, are going to deal with this energy better than others. And it's just inevitable. You know, every time a transit comes, someone's going to be aspected a bit different than the other person. But I really want, because the Aquarius risings, they have a freedom element. They like to run from here and there. They don't want to be bogged down. But I'm telling y'all, like, this is not it. Like, y'all need to stop.
And also, just to let y'all know, every rising sign have its day. So, like, usually with the rising signs, you'll sometimes get 5 that just have it really good in this transit. One be okay, and the other ones, like they got to deal with hell. But it always switches over. So, yeah, don't be alarmed by any of your transit.
Well, no, the Aquarius rising should be alarmed because...
I'm to feel good, BMORE.
No. You fuck that.
No, but I'm saying that they're gonna be. This is their like.
No, fuck that. Because I'm gonna tell you why. Pluto is in Scorpio, right?
Yeah.
This month it moves into Aquarius. Pluto will be in their first house for 20 years. They don't. Whatever they're kicking off, they have to get it together for the next 20 years.
But But no. But here we got.
Now the good thing is,
I was about to say, let's get to the good thing, because that's a lot of power.
The good thing
there.
is that they have Saturn there, and their and Saturn is there, and these last 3 years, Saturn will move into Pisces soon. It actually will move into Pisces these months. These last 3 years, guys, y'all were supposed to be taking self-inventory. Y'all are at the end of self-inventory, and so Saturn is about to move into Pisces, and Pluto's about to move into Aquarius. And so y'all really have to get serious, because it's the next 20 years. Y'all at the end of the transit. Like, this is really some Johnny come lately type ish.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, just real quick. I don't want them to be alarmed, because there's a way to fix this. And you have to understand the power of Pluto being in your first house and also being in Aquarius. Now, to go to the next 20 years, though, we're going to have dark themes on technology.
It deals with transformation.
Right.
And so because Aquarius is in your first house, it's going to deal with transforming who you are and under things of transforming what you know, how expansive your knowledge is, where your genius at. Also, thinking about the future. It's going to transform parts of your personality. It just has to. And it's time to put certain things aside and to grow out. It is what it is.
Again, a lot of power with Pluto in your first house in this transit in Aquarius. Y'all are people who can transform the world in technology. Now, where BMORE is right, if y'all was like twiddling your asses,
if y'all was fucking around these past couple years,
y'all need to have been getting certified in something. I don't know if Sunny is Aquarius rising, but like when she said she went back to school for gaming, to get her degree or certification, like, y'all supposed to be doing stuff in technology. So if you're not doing it right now, get to it. Even if it's a certification, that's all right. Get to it.
They started saying, "Get your house in order." Journey says, "That's wild. I'm sitting here going through my bank account for the first time. Create a budget. Hashtag Aquarius rising." Yeah, get it together, y'all, because it's the next 20 years. It'll be in your first house. Now, the good part about Pluto in the first house, you'll have a lot of willpower, and you'll try to have a lot of where the structure Saturn is right now, where creative structure. Pluto's going to be there to give you a lot of willpower and determination to see things through. That is good, but also Pluto deals with transformation and destruction themes. And so if you did not utilize Saturn how you were supposed to, it might be a hard transition for you.
And also, one last thing before I go, BMORE, for y'all getting Pluto and Aquarius in the first house, y'all better look into crypto. Look into things where there could be transformation in income, transformation in technology.
Yeah. It says, let's see, pray for us Aquarius risings. Right, I've been on my getting it together issue too. True. What about Cancers in the house? Oh, y'all gonna have to wait for the Cancers risings. Okay, BMORE, that's why I love you. Wake up call, because this has been looming over my mind. Like, girl, if you heal yourself, you heal nations. But I've been chilling. I'm in my energy. I've had enough of Grace Hopper life. Damn. Not BMORE scolding as Aquarius. No, the Aquarius do need to get it together, because they fucking around. And I know some of them are, because Lord, like, I just know y'all are, because I know how Aquarius be. They don't want to listen to nobody. They kind of have like a rebellious hair up their ass. So I know for a fact, even if when they say, Lord, give me a sign, even if they had every last motherfucking sign, they didn't do nothing with it. They didn't do nothing with it. So some of them could be wild like that. Maybe if they have a Capricorn sun or something else, they tell them to calm down a bit. But if they got all off the hook placements, then no, they didn't. We don't have a choice. Getting my house in order. Sin trying to clean it up. She did. She tried to give y'all something. She wasn't wrong though. So Aquarius is about going through the Tower card phase. Not necessarily. Aquarius is about hope. It's about direction. It's about hope. It's about direction. And it's about inspiration. Also, Aquarius in certain regards can rule it can rule I'm sorry, y'all. This was funny. Prince just in here threw a whole bunch of snacks that I wanted on the bed, so I'm really happy right now. He made it rain junk food, and I'm pumped. So it's like he just threw a whole bunch of it on the bed. I said, "Whoa!" But no, like, y'all really have to deal with the hope and inspiration in forms of travel. Y'all really have to get some of these stuff together. you know. But to your point, final, um, the Tower card sometimes is ruled by Pluto, and I think sometimes fire. So I can see why you would think that. I think sometimes it's also ruled by Uranus in the traditional setup, because I know we have some of the planets are newly discovered. So like in the traditional setup, it could be ruled by Uranus, and so I can see why you think the Tower card. So you're not wrong, but sometimes it's Pluto. I guess it would depend on what point in history you look at the Tower card, but it's enlightenment, and so they should think of it as a form of enlightenment. But it sometimes the Tower card don't always feel good, you know. I do feel read. I do. I guess I think it's you're saying I do read, but the best but in the best way. No more genius, boho, pothead, nomad. Yeah, you just have to get a little bit more structure and get some direction, because Pluto's moving there to give you direction. Because Pluto is about willpower and transformation. Thank goodness I got into tech in the last few years. This has been a confirmation for my current combination. Yes, it has. It's such a good idea that you went into technology, because with Pluto being there, it's going to deal with the transformation of tech. I feel you. These past couple years, I've been tired. What about careers? I can't really remember what your careers are, but where your career would rule if you have an Aquarius rising. I think it's a Capricorn. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure. I think it could be a yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head, because sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Uh, I have been laughing my ass off. Y'all said we should have tech issues and my Wi-Fi went out. Yeah, no, this should be happening for the next couple days. There should be some light tech issues. Child, I'm a Pisces sun in Aquarius rising. I'm all effed up. Yeah, see, Manny should be scared, because she got the Pisces in the Aquarius. So she, you know, I could see why she's a little bit shook, because, you know, Pisces not really known for that. So I get it, you know. But you should get a little bit serious, because you're going to get a lot of willpower. It's going to deal with transformation. Let's see. I'll be ready to cry. I know. Y'all be fine. Get into tech. Yes, tech will be good. Tech will be y'all. You know what? For the Aquarius risings that took advantage, y'all help Manny and get her over to safety. You know, y'all get her over to the right spot, cause she got a Pisces sun, so y'all know how Pisces sometimes be in the sun sign, you know. So she probably ain't look at none of the, I don't know what's going on. High key in tech, but I need my certifications. But I had a kid, so the balance have been nutty. Yeah. You know. You got it, Manny. You're a smart person. Just not certified, working on it. You want to get it. You want to get it. All right, let me scroll down. Just learn. Just y'all have to be responsible and not throw no money out. And congratulations on the baby. Studying computer information systems in college, we all on the tech way in here. I know. I find it interesting. I might have to do like a psychology, like a psychoastrology study, because I do notice a lot of people that follow me be in tech somewhere, and I'm like, dang, that's crazy. Let's see. I've been feeling like I'm more driven and have more willpower all week, but especially today, it's straight up confirmation on this feeling. Yeah, because Pluto is getting closer. Pluto, this is the good part of it. It's going to give you more willpower. So like, if Manny like, all right, I'm gonna get serious, because sometimes the Aquarius rising, they blow in the wind. They can kind of be here one minute, gone the next. I'm over it, you know. But this can really give them the engine. They really give them the gas in their ass. Really get them going. So no, it's not necessarily bad. But again, Pluto also has destruction and transformation things. So I'm not going to lie and say like, you ain't going to feel no change and be in your bag about it. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. But you got this. No, because Manny, you're going to have it in your first house. So it's not bad. You should, instead of fearing it, You should try to take advantage of it because you're going to feel it. Because Journey, now granted, y'all charts are different, but she's already feeling the, like, you know what, I do feel like I'm a boss and I'm about to, like, you should feel that because that's what Pluto does. It can do that to you. You know, you just have to be encouraged. Don't lose encouragement over yourself. Because once a Pluto gives that, it's going to give you that. You just have to be careful of things of control, power, and manipulation. Because I do notice when Pluto comes into your first house, it could be control, power, manipulation issues. You know. So as long as you can keep it focused on your goals, maybe you start a workout regimen so it can keep you from being hyper aggressive or challenging, you'll be okay. Facts, because I got something, I'm trying to get something done now. Every minute I feel like F this. Yeah, that's how Aquarius risings be. They be like, girl, I was hit. Girl, I worked that job last week. I'm in a new job this week. I don't have any certs right now. I'm in tech sales, and if you ever been good at a customer service, I would try sales. Ooh, that's not a bad idea. Katy Perry's a bag in the wind. That's how I feel. Yeah, so this is for all the Aquarius risings. Y'all can all, come in community, together and really like link up and do what y'all have to do. But guys, I'm about to move on to Pisces risings. Y'all can leave any questions. I'm also about to go to the bathroom because I really, really have to go. But y'all give me like 5 minutes and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back, y'all. Dang, y'all writing a lot. Hold on. What? What's going on? Oh, y'all giving each other advice. That's good. That's good. What's my Cash App? Um, I think it's in the description box. Let me make sure before I really be bold with it and be wrong as hell. Yeah, it's in the description box. Jasmine. Try my job, hired me so long ago. Let's see. That's good. Y'all, I like that. Y'all keep each other encouraged. It's funny. I actually think y'all are actually really interesting, like how the Aquarius risings interact though. I thought something was wrong. No, I had to go to the bathroom and they were still giving each other career advice. So I was like, you know what? I need to go to the bathroom and I need some water. So while y'all work out how to move up and get a bigger bag, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and get some water and I'll be back. So that's what I did. But yeah, I love that for y'all. Okay. So let me get into the Pisces risings. Okay, so for the Pisces and the Pisces risings, this is going to happen in your first house. Okay, so this is the house of self, who you are. Saturn will be in the 12th at best, depending on how your chart is set up. It will be conjuncting or aspecting the first. And so with with that being the case, it's going to do with aspects of self-evaluation, solitude, and self-interest. It's going to be very introverted. It's going to be very introverted. So, give me a second, guys. Yeah, so it'll be very introverted. Mercury will still be in your first, so this will deal with snap decisions. You could really absorb negative energy, and there could be some magical thinking. You know, not thinking things through. You know, and also being impulsive without thinking things through. And then you also could be prone to absorbing people's negative energy as well. And then Neptune in the first deals with a lot of false starts and learning about your new identity. You also have the Sun in the first, which means that the identity of the Sun could be very strong, but it's really open to understanding who you are. And also remember that we're under a thing with new relationships, some strengthen and some weaken. And you know what? I would not be shocked if some of this deals with who you are as yourself and strengthening and weakening relationships around who you are and yourself. There are also, again, you still have the financial responsibilities or making sure you're not being overly spending. But you also have a Neptune in the first, you have Jupiter in the first/second. And so this, again, being open about who you are and what you want, being open about creativity and having luck in your self-discovery. This will be, like I said, the whole movie about, you'll be another person where I see that it could be like a movie about self-discovery, learning who you are, or like that whole coming of age film thing. You'll have more luck. It'll be abundant for you to do this. And this also ties into some aspects of your second house, depending how your chart's set up. And then with Uranus in the second house, you can expect unexpected income, but also unexpected expenses. So you can make money quickly, and you can also have a charge come just as quickly. In this self-discovery, also in this impulse of not thinking things through. So just take your time with any decision. Don't spend anything too quickly. Don't jump out here and do nothing too rash or too quick, because you can make money just as quickly as you kind of lose it in your quest for figuring out who you are and what you want, because there could be deception there. Because it's about self, and so, you know, the deception is you deceiving your own self. Hopefully that makes sense. but you're deceiving yourself. You're literally straight up the pinnacle of like what we was talking about. All right, so Aries, this will be in your 12th house. It's for my Aries risings. So Saturn will be in the 12th, so this deals with solitude and self projects. Mercury will be in the 12th, so this deals with wishful thinking. Jupiter will be in the first, which deals with self-expression, creativity, and confidence. Neptune will be in the 12th, which deals with solitude, meditation, and having proper visualization. So this will be a good time to get into those things if you're Aries rising. And it helps to keep you less impulsive. You too also have unexpected income or unexpected spending. There will be an issue with struggling to communicate your emotions, and this can lead to impulsive actions or unexpected outcomes. These people will be very intellectual. They have business talent, and they have good relationships at work that can help them succeed. The downside is that it gives people restlessness, distractibility, and it could jeopardize any success that they've programmed themselves. So all this self-solitude, getting you together, something impulsive can come and you could mess up your thing because you're struggling to communicate. So really for you, this would deal with conquering your subconscious self and your subconscious urges. That's the main thing. All right, so for Taurus risings, this will occur in your 11th house. So Saturn will be in your 11th house, which deals with leadership. It deals with career opportunities and doing all the works. And you also have friends that will help you meet your goal or meeting people from your past. Some of the work that you're going to do, it probably be best if you delegate the task out to other people. Because this is about your friends helping you reach that goal. There will be structures where people around you or network can help you. Mercury being there in the 11th house means that you'll be open to meeting new people. With Neptune in the 12th house, it deals with solitude, meditation, and visualizations. You'll be able to program your mind and tap into your subconscious self. There'll be some issues there. You also have Jupiter there, which deals with a guardian angel or issues with subconscious freedom. In the first house, you'll deal with change and having to redefine yourself. And again, the aspects of freedom in relationships and wanting to end relationships because of this, because there's a push and pull between wanting to do everything yourself and wanting solitude, or wanting to meet new people and open up, and wanting to go things alone. That's your push and pull. This can provide emotional confusion, illusionary thinking. The positive thing about this is that it gives people intellectual abilities. Again, you'll be good at relationships with work, business talent. But the downside, again, restlessness, distractibility, and any type of success it could jeopardize. Because you have it where a group of people can help you build, and then another part where the other half of it is where you want to do everything on your own, and you want freedom, and you don't want to be bothered. So just have to figure out a healthy balance so that way you don't throw anything away. All right. For Gemini risings, this will occur in your 10th house. So Saturn will be in your 10th house. So this will be a career pinnacle or a flop. And it depends what you did for from the previous 7 to 14 years. So it depends what you did 7 years ago, and it depends what you did 14 years ago. With Mercury in the 10th house, it deals with deep concentration and career opportunities. The 11th house, where you have the square, you have it where you can make more friends, you can network. There could be a lot of luck, and you can have a lot of help with your friends in these goals. Neptune is also there, which is the rulership, and it deals with having to choose groups and friends wisely, because these people can drain you, and they also have to deal with things of helping people help themselves, because there can be people who are deceivers, and they can attach to your goals, and they can drain the well up dry before you even get your hands on anything lucky or abundant that you can touch, before you can even get there. So there's some people that really, really want to help you, and there's some people that are here to drain the well before you even get any wins. You also have Uranus in the 12th house, which deals with secrets being revealed. So don't share anything in these next couple weeks that you don't want coming out. That's very important for Gemini risings. Do not share anything these next couple weeks that you do not want out. Because it doesn't matter what you do, somehow the secret will come out. Thank you, mods. Thank you, Jasmine. It doesn't matter what you do, the secret's gonna come out. So if you're a Gemini rising, keep a tight lip. And this will also keep the manipulative people and the scammers and the deceivers from coming in and taking anything that you've worked hard for. You'll have a sixth sense, and the sixth sense will help you to perceive certain things, but there'll be a lot of stress and anxiety. And this is particularly for the Gemini risings. I'm gonna say this one more time. Do not share anything that you don't want people to know, because you already have some people who are fake friends and are wanting to apply fake help. They don't want to help you. So keep any type of success or win close to your chest, because this, as you can see, for the Gemini rising, this is a career pinnacle for you. You could really come up with a win, but again, where the deception is, the self-undoing is talking too much. Be quiet. If you gotta just not talk to nobody for a couple weeks, do what you gotta do. Because when you at career pinnacles, some of these things, it took 7 to 14 years for you to get here. So if you got something that took 7 to 14 years, you won't lose in the next 3 weeks if you don't be quiet. All right. So for Cancer risings, I know somebody had a Cancer rising in here. I don't know where y'all at, but I think somebody brought up Cancers. So for Cancer risings, Saturn, all of this stuff will occur in your 9th house. So in the 9th house, there'll be themes with Saturn. There'll be things around business travel, dealing with your in-laws, legal matters. There'll be jury duty and service, issues around education, teaching, and learning. Mercury will be there as well, so it deals with learning about these things too. You also have Jupiter in the 10th, so this deals with an increase of skill and confidence in your career, and promotion and lucky breaks. And so okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. Hear you now. Great. Okay. So for the Cancers, there'll be a push and pull between learning with this stuff and legal matters and teaching and learning about this stuff, and the opposing thing will be an increase of skill and confidence at work and promotion and lucky breaks, and being dissatisfied with your career with no direction or being impatient. And there'll be an issue with you being able to tell the difference between you feeling dissatisfied with work or your public, I guess, how people view you, and what's really happening. This will also be tied to meeting new groups or new people who can support your goals. And y'all will actually have a trine with who you are as a person, your past debt or like past experiences in the 5th house in Scorpio. So this deals with personality, it deals with lovers, it deals with children and romance and creativity in Scorpio. And Scorpio deals with forms of sex, sexuality, sports, anything you're passionate or extreme about, having passionate hobbies. And then it hits your Mercury and Saturn, which gives you a deep focus in the 9th house. So again, things around business, travel, learning everything you can about education and legal matters, and dealing with your in-laws. And so there'll be a synergy there. But the push and pull is going to be against what you know and what you learn, and the insecurity that you feel that you gain in the skill and confidence. And also because there's a deception in the 10th house, you're not going to, you want to feel dissatisfied with your work and dissatisfied with your public opinion, like how people view you. And that's not even probably what's even happening. You know, that's just how you feel. And you just have to just ride it out. All right. So next we're going to move on to the Leo risings. So for my Leo risings, this is going to happen in your 8th house. So Saturn is going to be in the 8th. So this deals with finances. It deals with checks. It deals with family or inherited money too. There can be delays and restrictions in your partner's income and money. So you should really try to save, because there could be a loss of money in these types of shared pooled income, whether it's pooled income at work or pooled income in your intimate relationships, anywhere that's intimacy. Mercury will be in the eighth house as well, and so it gives you a sixth sense. You'll be able to think of, like, see things or have a lot of perception. This is really good for meditation and looking for slights in ops, or looking for people who are enemies. You should be careful about that, because sometimes you could look for enemies. There could be deception. You could deceive yourself in saying that there are enemies in your family, or like in intimate relationships with you when your partner aren't any. And you should watch and when you share your opinions. You could be talking, sharing too much opinions. Really could be kept to yourself. Let's see. Your Aquarius rising reading made me think about the quote about excuses being used as tools for confidence. It's go time. It is go time. It is go time for y'all. Cool. My mom is a Leo rising. I can actually see that for you, Sean. I can see your mom being having a strong Leo sign, or one of your parents having like a strong fire sign. But you really be careful with the Leo risings. Be careful about holding your opinions, because you could have a very subjective view and you can see slights, or you could see an issue when nothing is even happening. Nothing is happening. And it could be restriction on money or income, or restriction in intimacy because of that. Now, the issue could come into like knowledge or having perspective and learning and teaching and traveling, legal matters and metaphysics. So having a more open mind. And so where this is going to be testing where there's a sense of survival for competitiveness, where you're keeping an open mind at, in understanding, having faith, or faith in life and faith in other people, and having them and understanding the meaning of life. And so it's really going to create a push and pull. And so it's like, are we going to get into our things of looking for enemies, or are we going to have faith in life or trust people? Because they can come in a very subjective point of view where they can make people seem anemic when people really aren't being anemic. You have to have more faith in people. You have to keep an open mind, or at least listen to their perspective before coming to these conclusions. And these can deal with themes around travel, studying and dreams, and paying attention to your dreams. And this is also around issues with career status and how people see you. And you should probably think or listen to rumors that are going on, or what people are saying around you and about you, because it will actually give you some direction. And I think that will help you understand how you're possibly coming across, or what's going on at work, at least in your career. But in general, there'll be an unease about yourself. There'll be an awkwardness about yourself, which is why I think you will probably try to overcompensate with being highly subjective and distrusting around other people. So you just have to just be careful. And this can affect your reputation. She's also an Aries sun. Y'all have a lot of fire signs in your family, Sean. You have a very fiery family. Alright, so for Virgo risings, this will occur in your 7th house, which is the house of relationships. Saturn is in your 6th house, so it deals with you working really hard, taking on responsibilities at work, getting recognition at work, and taking care of your body, your pets, or volunteering. So you're going to meet people and going out. Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me? Okay, because my Wi-Fi is acting up, and I understand it's a tech issue, but I decided that I was going to do this video, so it is what it is. I'm going to do the stream, so. But y'all just let me know if y'all can't hear, and then I'll just wait for the internet to do what it does. All right, so where was I? Okay, the 7th house. So with the Virgo rises, your Mercury is in the 7th house, and so you're going to want to understand the point of views of other people. You want to meet and talk to new people, because you really want to learn why they think that way and what you can get from their point of view. The downside, because Mercury's here and it's also in Pisces, you're going to have a lot of indecision because of it. You're going to be confused. You want to get all this information and still not be able to make a decision. Still going to have indecision. It's still going to be hard for you to make a choice. And I'm not saying what's the point of talking to people if you still can't make a decision. I'm not going to say that, because I do think there's value in learning about how other people live and how other people exist. I'm not going to do that. But this is where the struggle is going to come in at, because some of these other aspects, they is really want to test what you learn, and this indecision and you learning about other people and the hard work that you have taken to get recognition and to be put into the public and get a lot of respect at work, or get a lot of respect for what you have done, is going to be really tested around your indecision, because you're talking to a lot of people and you want to understand their viewpoints, but there's also a lot of confusion and manipulation, and you getting overwhelmed by people's negative energies going on as well. Even, particularly for this is other people, because it's the seventh house. Pisces would be the first, but this is where this occurs. This would be the seventh house in general. So, because Jupiter is in the eighth, you'll make money in a lot of ways. You can inherit things. There will be a sudden windfall, insurance settlements, or you'll get approved for a loan, or there'll be overspending or indulgent behavior. Because Neptune is in the eighth house, you will have to be careful of financial fraud, and there can be an increase of financial fraud. You also have an increase of wanting to study metaphysics or forms of the occult or spiritual practices. Uranus is in the ninth, and so you want to explore the world. You want to get education. You want to travel. You want to understand spiritual dynamics, legal matters, but you're unsure and you don't want to initiate certain things. The good thing about this is that people are you'll be very vital, you'll be curious. The negative side is that there'll be, again, distractibility and restlessness. The good thing about some of these aspects is then you'll be prudent and honest. The negative side is that you can feel obstructions, or people or certain energies, particularly people, you almost feel like it's blocking you from gaining popularity amongst other people, and particularly in the seventh house, like you feel like people are blocking you from getting the recognition you deserve, getting the attention you deserve, all the hard work you put into it. You feel like people are blocking you, and so you'll have people that are trying to block your income, or block where you want to expand or explore or learn or get more information. You'll feel like there's a block. You also get tired easily, and you could also suffer from, you still have a slightly where you could suffer lately with getting sick, and so you should be careful just as much as the Sagittarius is. You can get a little bit sick. All right, for the Libra risings, Libras, this is going to happen in your fifth house. Okay, so that deals with creativity, play, lovers, sex, romance. So for this, with Saturn in the fifth house, it deals with children or creativity or lovers or playing or ideas around that, socializing. It's more work than usual. It's more work to socialize. Your children can seem like more work. Your lovers can seem like more work than usual. It's not as fun. This can also feel like there's a limited amount of free time. You don't have as much free time to play and move around. You have more commitments than normal. It is a good time for you to watch your investments, because the fifth house, certain aspects can rule investments. Whatever you invested into, you should watch them very carefully. And again, with Mercury here, you really have a mind for creativity. You want to be where your lovers are. You want to be where your children are. Any of those aspects like that. Because Jupiter is in the seventh house, it deals with your relationships, and relationships can benefit under here. There can be a lot of lucky contacts that you meet that can pay off in the next 7 years because of what's happening. So the next 7 years, you can meet a lot of people that will be in your life, and it can add something to your life from right now. But you have to just pay attention, because people are willing to share enterprise and business with you. So whoever you meet right now, in the next 7 years, they're willing to share business with you. They're willing to share enterprise with you. They're willing to take whatever you're trying to do in your creativity, your lovers, your kids. They're willing to take it to the next level. You just have to be open to it. This also is a good time if you already have someone. This could be a time where you're considering marriage, because you want to get serious about lovers. You want to get serious about children. You want to get serious about creativity and investment. So whatever the investment is, in the seventh house, it deals with Jupiter, business, expansion. Neptune is in the sixth houses, in the sixth house. So the sixth house rules the body. So this is going to deal with misdiagnosis or sickness, where you go to get tested for something, they tell you you have this, you don't have it, or they told you you've had these past couple weeks, you keep getting tested. By the end of this transit, they tell you that you don't have it anymore. You're like, what the hell? So being misdiagnosed in your physical body, you being sensitive to medications, you can take a medicine or you can drink alcohol or perfumes or any oil, perfumes, medication, alcohol, anything that deals with creativity. So maybe it's paint. You, before this transit, you were fine. You put this perfume on, you're sick now for no reason, just the transit. So you have to be careful. All medications, all chemicals, be careful. This also is going to deal with diet. I would suggest you to be very meticulous about your diet and try to eat healthy as possible, Libra risings, because this, you have Neptune here, so that means you could be quite sick, and you should just try to eat as healthy as possible. And it's not because you are necessarily really sick, you're sensitive more, and in this aspect you can get misdiagnosed more. Unlike with the Sag risings and the Virgo risings, they can be sick, but they're actually sick and they don't have misdiagnoses. With you, with a Libra rising, you can have misdiagnoses, so you should not eat any junk food because they're going to tell you have something else. You go in there for a hangnail, they're going to probably tell you have cancer or something. So you shouldn't be eating anything bad because you're prone to misdiagnosis. With the other people, they're going to get treated correctly. So when they do their test, the test come back, I'm sorry, you had C19, or you have the flu, or whatever, or you have, I don't know, y'all think chickenpox, think of something, right? With your thing, you could get misdiagnosed. So you really shouldn't be eating or being too crazy with your body. You need to really treat your body like, I don't know, when the sneakerhead boys that don't let their sneakers crease, that's how you have to treat your body. Now they take their shoes off when they got a bend or something. You need to treat your body like that. Because you have it for misdiagnosis, so you should not be doing none of those things. Again, the other signs that are sick, when they go to the hospital, they'll tell them this is what you have, and that's exactly what they have. You gonna be on the whirlwind of hell because they're gonna tell you have one thing, and by the end of it, you ain't even got it. So you should not be messing around. No junk food, no Twinkies. You eat some vegetables. I guess you could take this as a dietary reset. I guess you could take it as that, but just take care of your body. Because by the end of this, you want to get through these next couple weeks, fine. Been back in the gym heavy. The past few months was just thinking about getting a bit more firm in my diet, though I eat pretty healthy. Look, just take it as a very strict next, because around the 20th, 21st, this will be over. But just take it as what it is, Doesn't mean it's bad. Just understand that misdiagnoses is on the menu. And Neptune is still in the sixth house for y'all. So just take it as is and try to eat as healthy as you possibly can. Because Neptune technically will loom in this space past the Mercury moving out. So you really, in general, y'all should just be eating healthy. Because y'all have it where they're not going to see what it is. This can also rule for job disillusionment. I do notice when people have this placement in this house, they're confused about their job, or they get discouraged by their job or the work that they do. There's a disillusionment. The bubble has been popped. They don't feel like their work is good, or they're not competitive with their work. They don't like working here anymore. They want to get into a new field. I'm tired of this, blah, blah, blah. If you seek new employment, it might not go well. It will not go well. So you keep the job that you have, because this is not real. This Neptune will pass eventually, and I have to see when it passes, particularly for y'all, because y'all got the whole health and sickness thing going on with this Neptune. But it'll pass. It's just there's a disillusionment around it. You also don't feel as confident. You could possibly be looking for a new job, but I actually would urge you instead to do the job that you know how to do more creatively. This is in your fifth house. Remember, your fifth house is creativity, it's lovers, it's sex, it's children. Learn to be more creative. I know it feels like there's a tight restriction on your creativity, but push harder. Because when this past is over, you're going to give up something that you really wanted. You were already in the career that you wanted. You just in a tough time right now. So just push past the uncomfortability. It will be over at some point. So I don't know if this is like writer's block, artist block, whatever. This will pass. You just need to write it out. Even the health issue, that will pass too. You have Uranus in the 8th. So this deals with sudden financial changes. Income shifts of partners. So either your partner makes a lot of money randomly, or you're with a partner or someone you share income with. So this could be a marriage, lover, whatever. They can make money really quickly, or they can lose money really quickly. Or it could be a lack of insurance. You find out your insurance doesn't cover something. I would not suggest you take out any loans or any lines of credit. Because your partner or whoever you're working with lost money. Do not do this. There could be an unease of thoughts around yourself, unease of restrictions of self, not liking that you are restricted somewhere. The good part is that you'll feel like a go-getter and you want to go learn. But you will be at odds with that whole Venus, Jupiter, and Chiron. You actually will be at odds with it the most at any zodiac sign. You will feel at odds with it the most. You really feel like the love, comfort, healing, any type of wisdom, you'll feel at odds with it the most. At odds from lovers, partners, wisdom, grace, healing, soul processing. You actually, out of everyone, have it the hardest because it's not a little square. It's a hard opposition. And I actually, for any of the cardinal signs, can have it the strongest. So Capricorn, Libra, Aries. What was the other one? Cancer. Y'all will have the strongest, but the strongest person who's going to have the most difficulty is Libra. So they're going to feel at odds at love, comfort. The restriction in their personal freedom with love, romance, money, and business is the issue. But the uptick of this in the next 7 years, whoever you meet right now, they're going to help you with business. You actually have a lucky thing of interacting with other people, and you don't feel like it right now. It doesn't feel that way right now. So if I am a Sag rising, take care of myself, I should be straight, right? I remember you saying early in the stream that Sag rising might have some health issues. Sag risings will have some health issues. When you go to the hospital as a Sag rising, they will diagnose you correctly. If you're a Libra rising, you go to the hospital, they misdiagnose you. Because you have Neptune in the 6th house. Now, the Neptune in the 6th house, I have to see. Matter of fact, let me look right now. I have to see when it changed signs. I'm going to look right now. But because of where Libra risings have it, it's going to do something completely different. When you go to the hospital as a Sag rising, they'll tell you exactly where you have something. If you go as a Libra rising, you're going to have difficulty. Because of where it is. Because there's certain houses and placements that make it a bit harder for planets to exist in, or they don't always get along. They don't always see eye to eye. Hold on, guys. I'm just looking for the Libra rising because they already got the misdiagnoses on a lot. So I'm trying to pull up real quick where it moves out of Neptune and into Aries. It's definitely going to be sometime next year. Give me a second. I'm looking for it right now. But no, they have to be very careful because they have some retrogrades too coming next year. It might be the year after. Give me a second. Yeah, they have a retrograde. So, hmm. Thought so. What day is this? Oh, 27th. Okay. All right. So for the Libra risings, I know this sound like a long time away, but I had to just check because I thought it was going to be next year, but I forgot that Neptune goes into retrograde next year. So it won't be next year. It will actually be in 2026, in 3 years. It'll come out of Pisces and it'll move into Aries. So unless you have it still a little bit of that in your sixth house, not always. Sometimes people have a very early degree of the rising. But once it moves into Aries, it'll move out of there and it'll move into your seventh. So in the next 3 years, this will pass though. The disillusionment in your job and the health issues, it'll pass. You just have to be on it because there'll also be a Neptune retrograde, which might not be bad next year because when retrogrades happen, the planets don't work how they're supposed to. And if for you've been experiencing disillusionment with work and you want to seek new employment or you experiencing misdiagnoses, next year when it goes into retrograde, the planet won't work normal, and so you'll probably start to feel a little bit better, but then when it comes back direct, you'll probably feel it again. So retrogrades aren't always bad because if you have it in a placement where it's giving you hell, if the planet starts to work in a different, like, opposed to what is normally been working or works uncharacteristically like itself, then you could have a good time under the retrograde. And then when it goes back direct, you could start to feel it again. You could feel the negative feelings you don't like again. So hopefully that makes sense. But no, the Libra risings have it the worst right now because they feel like they're at odds with the love, the comfort, and the beauty, and they feel like where Pisces is in the sixth house, it really just creates a form of confusion for them. They're very confused, and they feel at odds with any of the freedom aspects. They feel like other people are more free than them. They're having a lot of beauty. They're having a lot of prosperity, healing. When in reality, they about to get recognition for certain things too. Like they're going to meet people now that's going to change their lives, and they just have to force to stick it out. I've already been feeling that opposition already. I'm trying to fight past it. Yeah, because it'll be over. And there's a retrograde next year, Lauren. When the retrograde happen, I'm sure you're going to be like, ooh, that's a vibe. I mean, it's going to come back out of retrograde. So you'll probably feel like, oh my God. But you'll get a break. You'll get a break. And so by 2026, it'll be gone. But I would tell any Libra rising to eat very healthy. Because if you go to the doctor now, you could get misdiagnosed. So, all right. Last but not least, one more thing. Do y'all have any questions before I move to the last one? Because the last one is Scorpio. And I'll be moving to Scorpio. And then I'll ask if y'all have any more questions. And then we'll be closing. Okay. So for Scorpio risings, this is going to occur in your fourth house. This deals with home, aspects of things that are hidden, ancestry, and family. And so with Saturn in the fourth house, it deals with more responsibilities at home and a possible relocation or relatives moving in or having to remodel or purchase a new home. With Mercury there, this deals with more emotional thoughts and wanting to center home in your thoughts as well. Okay, so eat very healthy, stay out in my career, and be open to people I meet moving forward. Duly noted. Yeah, because these people can transform your life because you have them in Jupiter. You have Jupiter in the seventh house, so these people can really impact your life in the next couple years because they want to share business with you. This is great for networking. Because if you think other people have the money and prosperity and luck, then you go where they are. You go where they are. Because in 7 years, when in the next couple of years, when some of these planets move around and die down, you can tap into the luck that they offered you. They actually want to share with you enterprise and business. They want to teach you business. So if you have a Jupiter, which is a planet of luck and abundance, with where the placement or the house sign of other people, these other people want to give you luck or give you abundance or teach you how to make business. Basically, I won't put you up on game, and you should let them. The only thing that's going to be an issue for you is the disillusionment with work. And the misdiagnoses that you would get. But for Libra risings,
y'all got BMORE bonnet off, so she really getting into it.
Shut up. For Libra risings, this is a great time to network with other people because other people want to show you the business. You just feel disillusionment with work, and you could be misdiagnosed if you go to the hospital.
What you on right now, Libra?
I'm on Libra.
What you said about them so far?
They are having a time where they are working very hard and they feel a disillusionment with work and they want to quit their work.
So they have to figure out, should I stay or should I go?
But the part is that because they have Saturn and a restriction in the 5th house, they feel like they aren't as creative anymore. Work isn't going any well. They have a restriction with lovers, children, kids,
karma,
creativity.
Right now, you're gonna have more karmic situations.
They don't have as many free time. But they do have it where they have Jupiter in the 7th house, and so
partnerships.
Right, and so when you have Jupiter, Venus, and Chiron conjuncting, other people have more favor, money. They have a solution. They have more abundance.
And that means y'all can partner with people though, and work and stuff that have all that abundance.
Right, because when it's in these placements, that means that these people have more abundance. That means that they can put you up on game. They want to share enterprise with you. And when they want to share enterprise with you, you know, you go where the money is. They also have it where they're sudden, they can get disillusionment with work. They can be sensitive to medications. They can be misdiagnosed. And their partners or lovers or business partners can have a sudden shift in income. So they can either make money really quickly, or your partners can lose money really quickly. And so they should save. They shouldn't take out any loans or debt at this time. So yeah. Alright, so for the Scorpio rising, this is the last one. So again, like I said, this will be in your 4th house. So relocation, moving, purchasing or remodeling a home could be a thing. Your thoughts could be more emotional or more home-centered. You want to have more comfort in your mind. You want to put your mind at ease. Now, with Jupiter in the 6th house, this means that you're optimistic about work and you want to take on a lot of tasks. And you can make a lot of promises. You need to be careful about that because it's only so much you can do. So you can wear yourself ragged with making all of these promises that you cannot keep. You make all these promises that you cannot keep. You cannot keep up with all of this. So only promise what you can. You're feeling ambitious with work, that is great. You feel ambitious with your body. You can feel like you're getting better. You feel more healthier. But you don't want to wear yourself ragged and put more wear and tear on your body than necessary. So you'll have a lot of motivation and you might want to volunteer or take on more leadership roles or take on more roles to be of service. Neptune's in the 5th. And so this deals with romance and idealism. So you could be idealizing romance and partners and lovers and your children. You could be idealizing sex and creativity. This could also mean that it's a poor time for investment. Great for creativity though. If you could get into creativity and bypass investing in anything, I would suggest that. This also means that your children can get into trouble or your lovers can get into trouble. They can fall in with the wrong crowd. They can make poor decisions. Your lovers make poor decisions. Your kids make poor decisions. So your lovers and your kids aren't thinking as clearly. They have hazy thoughts. And that could cause you stress. That's why it's good that you have Jupiter in the 6th house with your body feeling better. You also have Uranus in the 7th. So this is change in relationships. So you need change. You want to change the dynamic, especially when they start acting crazy like this. When Neptune is here. So you want to change the dynamics in the relationship. There's also a need for excitement in a relationship. And because if the need for change or excitement is not met, for Scorpio risings, there could be a chance of you divorcing or separating or having a short romance. Because you want to have comfort in your home, and you want to have a more spontaneousness in the home, and you want to spice up your home life, or you want to improve somewhere. And if they don't want to improve, or they want to be stuck in the wrong crowd, or your partner wants to make poor decisions, you're ready to divorce, you're ready to leave, you're ready to put all of this stuff behind you. Which isn't necessarily like a bad thing, but just understanding what the transit is. This is what you're ready for. So it's either they improve or you break up, or you improve and you separate. Because you're ready to have a peaceful home life. Any questions, guys? Any questions? All right. Hopefully this was a really good stream that you can really learn about Mercury and Pisces. I will be doing other ones about the different Mercury signs. Um, and we'll take it from there. It'll probably be like a series so that people can understand how these placements function. Um, but hopefully this will help you, and you guys stay healthy, you guys stay centered, and you guys stay motivated in these next couple weeks. It'll be over soon, you know. It'll be over soon. Mercury leaves out of here around the 20th. Y'all just stay strong and y'all just stay positive. Thank you so much. You're giving me quite a bit to journal about tonight. Yeah, Lauren, especially for the Libra risings. The disillusionment in work, again, it passes in a few years. You get a break next year because Neptune will retrograde, so you'll get a little bit of a break. But I can understand why it feels like a burden right now. You have to really take care of your health because it's really for y'all will be at the most, y'all be worn out the most because you seem at odds with it the most. You seem like you can't catch a lucky break. Other people are having the most luck right now. Hold on, I'm put my number in. Let me put it in. Hold on, guys. My number, and this is my email if y'all want any information. If y'all want any information or you have a question, you guys can always hit me. Right now I'm working on the weekly forecast for next week, which I'll probably do another stream in the next couple of days. And it'll be from the 5th to the 12th. And then if everything goes according to plan, I'll have a Patreon stream around the 7th, which deals with the I think it's a full moon in Virgo. And so we'll have a conversation of full moon in Virgo, and we'll be talking about that and how it synergizes people's charts. And so yeah, but you know, you guys can always hit my number if you have any generalized questions or anything like that. You know. You guys have a blessed night. Y'all be safe. Y'all make sure y'all be careful on the roads. Y'all be safe on the roads. And y'all be careful with drinking and any intoxications or any chemicals, perfumes. Y'all know. But y'all be very safe. And y'all have a blessed night, okay? Love you guys.